Today's show is brought to you by Lovable. Here we go.
It's almost 5 o'clock here in Oslo, the perfect time to leave work, find a cozy pub and ask them to put chess up on the big screen. Title Tuesday is the habit we should be making together, whether it's with your morning coffee, lunch break with your colleagues, after work across Europe, or prime time entertainment in Asia. The best chess players in the world at the same time every single Tuesday. I almost wish I could stay here at the good night, but the show is about to start. I need to get back to the studio. Game week 2 is about to start.
It looks like Farouche is almost getting it done on the board. Should still be a draw. He's losing now suddenly.
He's throwing a thorn into the white side, holding on here for dear life. The nerves are kicking in.
He's playing with Ghost, afraid to commit.
Did he lose on time?
The clock is his worst enemy right now.
Oh, look at this. He's trapped his own king in the corner. The black rook is hit as well.
Whoa, is this a blunder?
Checkmate is coming.
And we're back in the studio. Welcome to Title Tuesday, the Premier League of Chess, today with a very handsome panel. This guy, Grandmaster Robert Hess, our main man today to guide us through all the moves. Recently also a married man. Congratulations, Robert.
Thank you so much. Glad to be back in the studio, but also very happily married.
Exactly. I have to ask you, the one question everyone, of course, is wondering. Did you, like Magnus Carlsen, play chess on your wedding night?
I have not played a game of chess since like October.
Really?
So no, I didn't at all.
It's very good to have you here, Robert. And on this side, Christopher Gressly, he is a celebrity in Norway, commentating often chess on Norwegian television, an international arbiter, of course, but also the founder of our beloved Good Night Pub. Christopher, your life is all about chess.
Yeah, and I did play chess on my wedding night.
Did you? That seems to be a topic.
Yeah.
But talking about the Good Night, when did you start? When did you found the Good Night?
7 years ago, 2018.
Would you call it a success?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the biggest success is not the financial. It's going well financially, but that we have managed to spread chess as a way to meet and talk and have fun in the Oslo nightlife is just amazing.
Yeah. It really is just a highlight to go to the Good Night. Do you have chess pubs like that in London, where you live now, Robert?
Not really. I mean, there are some places that have chess boards, but not to the extent of the Good Night. And when is it going to get promoted to the Best Night? That's my question.
Yeah. Maybe when we open in London.
I like the sound of that.
Okay, some good ideas coming in here, you guys. All right, we might make our way to the Good Night after the show today, but now let's talk about the road to the EWC, the Esports World Cup, because that's what Title Tuesday is all about now, you guys. Of course, the road to the Esports World Cup started last week with Game Week 1. There are 13 spots in total. Magnus Carlsen has a spot as the reigning champion, and then top 3 players from the Speed Chess Championship and top 3 from the Chesscom Global Championship will each go directly to Riyadh. But every week in Title Tuesday, the top 10 players score points in the Champions Chess Tour standings. And at the end of the season, the top 6 players on the Champions Chess Tour standings qualifies for the Esports World Cup. Now, remember, chess made its debut at the Esports World Cup this summer. Magnus Carlsen took home the trophy. It had a prize fund of $1.5 million. Huge attention worldwide. It was a massive success. And Robert, how did you feel about it? What was your take on seeing chess on this esports stage?
It was a spectacle. It truly was. I mean, the amount of glam, and it made chess into a brighter spotlight.
Yeah.
And I think that's what chess always wants, and it deserves, and frankly, it needs.
Yeah. Now, Christopher, with the Good Night, such a classic pub, chess at its best when it comes to tradition, the wooden boards. What do you think about chess on the esports stage?
It's amazing, and I think that is where chess is moving forward, because it's very nice to have the pieces and move them around, but with the time controls like now, 5+0,
Yeah.
that's so hard to play over the board,
Yeah.
and bullet also. So this is the future of chess, I believe.
I agree. I agree. We had Gameweek 1 last week. It was so much fun, so intense with the 5+0 time control. We expect more of that drama today. Let's talk about Title Tuesday and the format now. Of course, Title Tuesday is an old concept, but now it's a little bit different. It's played across 3 splits. The autumn split, winter split, and the spring split. Today, we kick off Game Week 2 in the autumn split. And of course, 13 game weeks in each split, and you score points. Top 10 players score points towards that Champions Chess Tour leaderboard, and these are the top 10 standings. After Game Week 1, we have Alexei Sarana on top with 10 points. Esipenko had a great run in Title Tuesday last week. Magnus Carlsen, 5th place. Hikaru Nakamura, outside top 10 in Game Week 1. Do you expect to see him score some CCT points today, Christopher?
He has more wins in Title Tuesday than anyone else, more than 100 wins in Title Tuesdays.
Whoa.
So he's, I'd say that Magnus is the favorite, but Nakamura is definitely up there, and he's eager to score some CCT points.
Yeah. It's 10 minutes to go until Game Week 2 starts. The countdown clock is here and has players signed up. I mean, wow, already Magnus, Hikaru, they're all there. Magzudlu is there. How many do we have? 143 players already signed up. How many should we expect signing up, Robert?
Every time you talk, I see the number go up, and I
love
see
it.
some great names. You know, Daniel Naroditsky's playing, so some familiar faces, some friends, and some upstarts. And that's what I love about Title Tuesday. You don't know what 12-year-old is waiting in the wings to try and take down Hikaru Magnus.
Exactly. And anyone who has a title is invited to play Title Tuesdays, all the way from Grandmaster, of course, all the way down to Candidate Master. We have players rated from 2,000 all the way up to the Super Grandmasters. And we talked about it a little bit before the show. It's possible to specialize in this format, right, Robert? You can even be an IM or lower rated and still upset these big guns.
And we saw one IM in the top 10 last week,
Yeah.
Renato Terry, who is a fantastic player, somebody who really is a grandmaster in strength, just hasn't obtained the title yet. But if you are really quick with the mouse, you can flag somebody, you can use the clock as a weapon, as James Canny likes to say, the 17th piece.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, Magnus, of course, always a big favorite together with Hikaru, but we give him an extra challenge every single week. We let our community on Discord vote for one opening that Magnus has agreed to play every single Tuesday. This is the poll today. I think it's still open in that Discord community, but it looks like the Grobs opening will win, that Magnus is forced to play this opening in one game today. That sounds dreadful, Robert. Is this going to be a huge disadvantage for Magnus in that game?
I expect Magnus to use that in the early going, because if he's playing the other Super Grandmasters, that does put him at a disadvantage. But truth be told, it's not that terrible. It's not good. I'm not trying to promote it, but it's not that awful.
6 minutes to go. Magnus Carlsen is ready. He is playing here from the Oslo studio, his own streaming room, but the players are scattered all across the globe, logging on from every single corner. And of course, we have Hikaru already seen him join. Faustino Oro is also playing today. I saw his name. Magnus is here. And a bunch of the top players are all gathered in Samarkand for the Grand Swiss. Of course, not all of them will have finished their round 6 games today, but we hope as many as possible will join, that they will rush back to their hotels in time to play Title Tuesday. And we're going to talk about the Grand Swiss now. We have our reporter on site, Rachel, in Samarkand. Hi, Rachel. It's good to see you.
Hi, it's good to see you.
You have to tell us, Rachel. So the Grand Swiss is a huge happening, and of course, 2 spots up for grabs for the candidates. So much at stake for so many players. What is it like there?
It's kind of a chess safe haven. I mean, we have 2 hotels where basically all the players, arbiters, media stay, and then right across the street there's the expo where the tournament's being held. So it's just so much chess everywhere. You can feel the energy. I mean, there have been so many upsets, and I'm just super grateful to be able to witness it live, and to be able to see the players right after they finish their games when they're on that high of just playing in such an important tournament.
Yeah, we see Gukesh here, one of the top players, of course, the world champion, and all the other players fighting for a spot in the candidates. Nepo here, one of them to face Gukesh in the next world championship match. And after 6 rounds, we're closing in on the halfway mark, Rachel. Who would you say realistically now are fighting for those 2 spots in the candidates?
I mean, it's so hard to say. I think the most surprising thing has been there just been so many upsets. So I think that the 2 spots will be people that we were not expecting.
And we see the standings here. Magzudlu now, this was, of course, after round 5, before today's round started. A bunch of games today in round 6 still going on. But Magzudlu, he's been very impressive.
Yeah, no, he's been super impressive. And yesterday he said in the interview that if he finished his game early enough today, that he'd play in Title Tuesday. And I see him on the list, so I'm super glad to see him.
I am
today.
too. Oh, I'm so excited about that. Rachel, thank you so much for all your interviews for Samarkand. You can, of course, find them in the Take app. And we'll see you again later, Rachel. Talking about Magzudlu, one of the players in Samarkand playing the Grand Swiss, he did talk about Title Tuesday yesterday. Let's hear what he said.
If your game happens to finish early, would you play in Title Tuesday, or is it just too much?
Yes, of course. Because also the next day is rest day, so.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, of course, if I finish early, I will play, but I don't think I will finish early.
So you're
because
not
all my games like 5 hours, 6 hours. So I don't think I can reach it, but I hope.
So you won't. You're not going to change anything.
Quick win would help.
Yeah.
Because I don't agree with quick draw.
He played a quick draw today, Magzudlu. He is still on top of the standings in Grand Swiss, and he has signed up to play today's Title Tuesday Game Week 2. Fantastic stuff. Those are the players all the way in Samarkand. We do have some players playing here from the Oslo studio. One of them is Magnus Carlsen playing in his streaming room. In the other streaming room, okay, Magnus not there, but look at that. It's Alexander Bortnik. We have a guest streamer, the Ukrainian Grandmaster. He is a fantastic streamer, you guys. I really recommend following his point of view stream. And he's also a really, really good player in this format. He's won Title Tuesday a bunch of times. And he also has a massive score against Magnus. Of course, Magnus has won online a lot of times against Bortnik, but in this format, online blitz chess, he's really good, Robert.
You can see Bortnik has, what, over 30% score against Magnus
Wow.
Carlsen. Not many people can say that. And with 5-minute chess, with no bonus time, that's actually good news for Alexander Bortnik because he is a speed demon. He may get himself in time trouble early, but late, you do not want to score off with him. His gloves are off and he comes fighting.
This is definitely Alexander Bortnik's format, online speed chess, no increment. He's won Title Tuesday.
Yes,
A
several
bunch of times.
Yes, 10, 12 times.
Wow.
But he's a known speed demon. But he's also a fun character because he's played so many low-rated players that FIDE actually changed the rating rules because he and Daniel Naroditsky played so many low-rated players. Yeah, like what we see Nakamura doing now in
classical chess.
In classical chess, but they haven't changed the rating rules for classical chess yet. But I guess they're going to do this after Nakamura has finished his streak.
Probably. Sneaky guy then, Bortnik. Now, one of the players definitely to look out for. The Title Tuesday format is, of course, with no increment. 5 minutes on the clock, 0 increment. 11 rounds is to be played today, and first place scores 10 points on the Champions Chess Tour standing. Let's talk power rankings. We're going to watch out for Magnus today. We're going to watch out for Bortnik. But you've also taken a look, Robert, and chosen 3 players that we should watch out for today. Who should we watch out for?
You know, I'm on the lookout for everyone, not just Magnus Carlsen. You always will be giving your utmost attention to him because he's the strongest player on the planet and has been for a decade. So Kaya, his name will always be said when it comes to Title Tuesday.
Yeah.
And, well, he's in the studio.
I love it.
He's right over there somewhere in his private studio, in the Dave Cave, as they call it. Alexander Bortnik, I mean, so many words can be said about him. The Ukrainian Grandmaster lives in the U.S. He's a speed demon for sure.
Oh, who's this guy?
Renato Terry. Like I said, I am in title only. He's GM strength. He's over 3,000, 3,100 in blitz and in bullet. And with that kind of speed in his arsenal, that makes him especially dangerous without any increment.
Fantastic. Let's look out for him as well. Game week 2 is about to start, you guys. This is the Premier League of chess. And look at that. The streamer is getting ready. Hikaru will be streaming today, of course. Ali Reza Farusha, he is playing in the Grand Swiss, but he is also playing Title Tuesday along with Denis Lazovic. And we also see Andrei Esipenko, who had a fantastic Title Tuesday last week. You guys, Game week 2 in the brand new Title Tuesday is about to start. Get ready for the Premier League of chess. Mate in 5.
Oh, look at this. He's trapped his own king in the corner. The black rook is hit as well, and Andreikin takes the point. White is still winning this position with the pawn on the e-file, about to become a queen or cost black his rook. But it's all about the pre-move, so Farusha wins.
He's massively better on the board, but he has lost on time. Moments like that is what you get in Title Tuesday. In round 1 is about to start. Hikaru is playing with the black pieces. Magnus with the white pieces against a Peterson here in the first round. We should follow that game.
We always want to look out for Magnus Carlsen, and he listened to the audience. He played the grub. That's why his pawn is on g4. He's playing on the wing rather than in the center. And that's not typically what we're advised to do, but when you're Magnus Carlsen, you can get away with it.
All right, so he's playing the grudge opening.
The grub.
The grub.
It could be called the grudge. I mean, he might have a grudge against the community for suggesting it.
It sounds horrible. So would you say Magnus is off to a bad start because of the opening, or how does this look for him?
I wouldn't say a bad start. I would say a really bad start.
Okay.
I mean, look at his knight over here. This knight is not a good piece. I'm going to turn that yellow and then red because all the street signs are saying this knight is not getting out very easily. This pawn takes away its retreating square, and this bishop, it's lovely placed on d6 staring at that knight. So it just feels like black has more control of an open board.
Magnus is streaming. You can see him talking. You can follow his point of view stream if you prefer, of course. Remember, 5 minutes on the clock, 0 increments here in Title Tuesday. This is game week 2, and this is round 1 out of 11. Would you feel bad if this was your opening, Christopher?
I would. It would be as expected because I play dirty openings as a chess pub aficionado. So this is right up my alley. But I would rather be. I would rather have the black pieces here than the white because this is just atrocious.
And we see much better already for Peterson, a candidate master, one of the lower-rated players in Title Tuesday, getting off to a good start against Magnus. Do you think there's a chance for him to win this against the world number 1?
Well, it's very early, and I would say one thing that's going well for Magnus is the opening part is done. Like, he knew he would have a disadvantage by playing this opening on the flank rather than the center, but there's a long-term weakness that black has to deal with. This pawn over here on d5, an isolated queen pawn, we call it, it's a target, and look at all of white's pieces staring right into that center, and this latest move, knight up the board, hitting that light square bishop in black's camp. You see a really aggressive play from Magnus Carlsen.
So there's 600 rating points difference between these players. So maybe this is not the opening that Peterson was actually hoping for in such a strategic position.
Yeah, it's one of these situations where it's difficult because you want to play the board. And he must know he's doing okay. I mean, he does have all his pieces developed. He's got good control in the center of the board. You see all the minor pieces, and this knight now attacking the white queen. Magnus will not blunder. The queen has already moved out the way. But the problem is you're also facing the opponent. Yeah. And you're now down almost a minute on the clock, and Magnus's position is starting to stabilize.
Yeah, definitely.
And we see, I mean, look, the knight was kicked, it's back, but the problem when you're playing without increment is perfect can be the enemy of the good. You need to play good moves quickly rather than the perfect move slowly, and black is better. Like, there is no denying it. Magnus himself, I'm sure on his stream, is saying that, but the issue is going to continue. Black is down almost a minute and many hundreds of rating points.
Yeah, exactly. This is kind of starting to get kind of highbrow compared to the position on the board, quoting Voltaire and stuff. But this is very exciting for both players, I think. And black do have the bishop pair, which might compensate a little bit.
That's very true. The bishop pair on an open board can be dangerous. This bishop here in particular, it's staring into its own pawn, so it's not quite active. And now with the queens off the board, Kaya, we know this is where Magnus, he really shines, the endgame maestro.
Magnus may be getting more comfortable on the board, but he is struggling. It's much better for Peterson in this game one, but on the clocks, you guys, ticking down to 2 minutes for Peterson. Magnus still more than 3 minutes on his clock. This definitely could go down to a flagging situation, I guess.
I think that's the likely path because Peterson, the credit, is playing really well. Like, I just want to give a shout out because with the black pieces against the #1 rated player in the world, to have any kind of advantage is a great accomplishment. And finding good move after good move. But this move F5 striking at Magnus's first move of the game, right? It's the audience's fault. They had a poll, the pawn's on G4. I think right about now you kind of wish that this wasn't so much tension on the side of the board.
It's understandable that Magnus has spent a little bit more time now on the last few moves, I think, because this is difficult to play.
And we have a video from Peterson we had for a moment there. Magnus, I have to say on his camera, he is not looking stressed. Do you think he is feeling confident that he can win this game?
Yeah, I think in the early rounds, you kind of get to shake off the rust, right? Because it has been a week since Magnus played in that last title Tuesday. And by his own admission, he didn't play as well as he would like. So he's playing an offbeat opening. He's playing a low-rated opponent. And now you see the bar. It's going closer and closer to the center. But what's not getting even is the clock. And I know I sound like a broken record, but it's just true that Magnus, he's playing improving move after improving move, bringing his king into the center. Everybody, the king can be used as a weapon in the end game, and that's why that king is out on G3, defending this pawn, freeing up this bishop to do other things if it wants to, and just trying to keep control of his space. And very importantly, everyone, is the square in front of an isolated pawn is one that you want to control. And look at all of White's pieces staring there, and, well, there's no more isolated pawn because it was just captured.
It is. And we are now joined by Peterson, a candidate master from Germany. Very nice looking streaming room there, but it's starting to look dramatic on the clock. 1 minute and 13 seconds left for him. Magnus has so much time on his clock.
Yeah, now Magnus is just up a pawn. So we see here that Magnus is in the driver's seat. Peterson, he is trying to hang in tough. He knows that he's worse. With best play, maybe he can try to make a draw, but that's really wishful thinking. Even the best players of all time struggle against Magnus in the coulda, woulda, shoulda territory. Like, you're playing against Magnus Carlsen, you're down a lot of time. Magnus, he's showing respect to the position, that he's taking his time. I think he ultimately wants to try and win this on the board.
Yeah, it looks like it. And, well, a pawn up in a rook endgame like this, it's really hard to defend, especially with only 1 minute on the clock. You have to play perfect to be able to keep this against the best endgame player in the world.
There he goes. I think he's saying my chances might also be disappearing. But, I mean, Magnus has checked that king, the black king, now in enemy territory. So this pawn right next to the rook is under fire, but that black rook is going hunting as well. The issue being that black is down a pawn to begin with. And now if we sort of look at the board here, there are 2 passed pawns that white is going to try to use to become a queen. And black has these split pawns. And as you know in bowling, split usually isn't good. This position is great for Magnus Carlsen.
All right, Magnus Carlsen in round 1, fighting for a win. We gave him a really poor start to the game because our viewers had voted for a not too good opening that Magnus had to play in one game today. He chose to get over with it and play it here in this game, but he is fighting his way back, even if Peterson's still much better on the eval bar.
I think the eval bar just hasn't caught up with Magnus' speed because right now, after the rook went here, it stopped the black rook from preventing the queen, and you see it on Peterson's face. He's like, that's it. Magnus, you got me.
Magnus with the white pieces. Will he promote to a queen?
I think Peterson is going to resign. It's just, when I'm losing, I always have to take an extra time just to consolidate with myself and not be too angry of losing the game.
It's a win for Magnus Carlsen in round 1. Looking happy on camera there, beating a candidate master from Germany. All right, round 1 is still happening. I actually noticed something. Look at that, Magnus. We also have Bortnik in the house. Alexander Bortnik is our guest streamer today. Let's see how he did in the first round. I'm going to find him. I also noticed something else, you guys. Fabiano Caruana is playing today. I am surprised. Are
Wow.
you, Robert?
You know, he had many words to say on his podcast, but he did acknowledge that he might play. He was thinking that there might be a lot of talk about his entrance into the field, but it's always good to see Fabiano playing.
100%. We love seeing that. Some games still being played here in round one. Hikaru started off with a solid win. So did Ali Reza Farouja. Lazovic, a good win. Do you see any surprises here, you guys?
And Draken lost. He was third last week. And then Draken lost against a guy from IM from Kyrgyzstan, which is surprising.
That's
and
certainly surprising.
you cannot stumble in the first round in a format like this. Now you're out. Honestly, you have no chance for the last 10th place at all. So this is game over for Draken already.
Do you think he's gonna? So I learned that one word that we have to know about in Title Tuesday is rage quitting.
Yeah.
Will we see a rage quit?
I would have done it.
How do we feel about rage quits? Should people finish to the end, or is it okay to rage quit when you're having a bad run?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
Ultimately, like if you're out of contention, what's the point of being in there? If you're not anywhere near the top of the leaderboard on an online setting, you know, just maybe go play some casual games.
Yeah, absolutely. It's different over the board than online. But online, quitting like this is here. The only thing you play for here is a place amongst the top 10.
Yeah.
When you're out of the running, you're out of the running. Why bother? Turn off the computer and watch a good television show like this.
So we're gonna accept the rage quitters. Round one is rounding up, you guys, and here we have pairings for round two. Hikaru will play with the white pieces, Magnus with the black pieces. Do you guys immediately see a game you want to follow here?
Some great pairings.
Yeah.
I'm looking down there. You know, we got Parham Maksulu, who's leading the Grand Swiss. He's showing that he's got that might in blitz as well. But you know, why don't we maybe start at the top with Hikaru?
Should we check in with Hikaru? I really want to check in with Hikaru. Let's follow Hikaru's game. He's playing against Vetik, and as always, we have to apologize for some pronunciations here in the beginning. It could kind of look like, all right, we have a FIDE master here against Hikaru, who will play with the white pieces. All right, a game has started. What are we looking at, Robert?
Sorry, my attention was on Hikaru's stream over there. You can see him with all the arrows. I mean, he's probably saying take, and appreciating the broadcast in the studio. But right now, we have a quiet start to this game from Hikaru. It's vintage Hikaru Nakamura. I don't actually know where in the United States he is right now. He might be playing in his next state championship on his road
that's true.
to the candidates.
Yeah.
But, you know, some moves are trickling in fast, and ultimately, white has the pair of bishops at the moment. We see them trying to stare at the center. This bishop stares into his own pawn for the moment, and the other bishop stares into the black camp.
So this is round two. Total of 11 rounds today, every single Tuesday, and this is game week 2 in the autumn split. The players are fighting for points on the Champions Chess Tour leaderboards. The winner every Tuesday gets 10 points. If you guys want to talk to us, then we pay attention to the YouTube chat and the Twitch chat, both on the Take channels. If you have any questions for our experts here in the studio or any comments, then please let us know. We also want to know who you guys are rooting for. Will there be a lot of Magnus fans, Hikaru fans, or someone else? And look at that, Weetik is joining us on camera.
Weetik's got some cool stuff in the background.
That's true.
I see the bookshelves, and I also see, like, I can't tell exactly what they are, but some kind of toys or just items.
Animals?
Yeah.
And very like dinosaur theme, or is that like a...
Maybe he's a fan of the hippo opening. It's the hippo back there, isn't it?
Well, honestly, playing really well. That's what I'm seeing on the chessboard right now, because there's a lot of talk at the highest level of having the pair of bishops, and you don't want an open board if you have the bishop pair. This bishop here on g2, right in front of the white king, it's staring into its own pawn. What you wouldn't do to take that pawn and throw it off the board in some positions, because then your bishop would stare all the way through to the black rook in the corner. So Hikaru has gained control of some key squares, but so has Weetik here. I mean, this knight over here can jump in and attack the white queen, so both sides are jockeying for position.
It looks like Nakamura is going in for the king, to be honest, on the king side.
Already?
This is interesting. This is kind of the chess that I like. But kind of neglecting development of the pieces, like the black squared bishop hasn't been developed yet.
Yes.
And it's, I don't know if I would rather be white or black in this position, to be honest.
And that's really what we as commentators say. You know, it's an interesting position. It's dynamic equality. Both sides have their chances, and it is true because what's being clamored for, and well, pawns were just traded, but what I was going to say is that white wants to storm up on the king side and go for an attack against this black king, but black has many of his own forces just in the center, protecting in advance as a preemptive measures, and you don't know. It's the side that controls the pawn breaks is often the side with the advantage, and will black try to strike with a pawn push here to break things open? Is this knight a strength, or is it actually a potential weakness now that both the bishop and the queen stare in that direction? It's a mixed bag right now.
Low Blow on Twitch commenting, is that an ironing board table? I love it. And I actually think, yeah, it might be.
You know, have to iron the front of the dolls very gently to make sure that maybe they're steam pressed, so they're in the top-notch condition.
We see so many strange things on these cameras in Title Tuesday. Just entering people's rooms, people's houses, people's private spaces, and we love it. 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock for we take the, of course, start with 5 minutes on the clock, 0 increment. And that means we do see a lot of flagging, a lot of drama on the clock. Hikaru is playing fast.
Playing fast, but Wietek playing very well. So keeping Hikaru honest on the board, even if Hikaru is ahead on the clock. This latest move, bringing the queen into, speaking about invading someone's personal space, this queen is saying hello to the white king, hello to the pawn next to it, and the other pawn as well. So this queen is actually a huge problem for Hikaru to deal with, and he's got some pieces that are a bit offside. At some moment, you want to use this open file to your advantage. Rooks love open files. There's a pawn at the end of the line. If that knight moves out the way, maybe you can get at it, but do you have enough time? That's the critical question, and Hikaru's trying to work it out, and no longer does he have a lead on the clock.
But in a position like this is not going to end in a draw. It's either Nakamura is going to manage to find some tactical finesse.
Yeah.
Finesse. Or Wietek is gonna win in some spectacular...
Like this.
Yeah.
There it is. Oh, we love it when players bring the fight to Hikaru Nakamura. He's saying, I'm not going to let you get everything you want. Look at this move. Exposing his own king is Wietek to say hello to the white king. This bishop wants the full length of the diagonal. If we see an exchange of pawns in this direction, well, hello there. This rook on... next to the black king, staring down at the white queen. So this is dangerous territory for Hikaru, and now he's well behind on the clock.
You have 2 minutes on the clock to find a solution to a position like this. This is hard.
Can he take with the other pawn?
Oh, look at that. Kaya calling the shots here. But look what's happened. So white has a phalanx. This pawn here, you win connect 4. That's not the game we're playing today. But what black has been able to achieve is this bishop on the dark squares, unopposed. If the queen can line up there as well, that will be a checkmate. Hikaru wasn't born yesterday. He was born in 1987. We actually looked at this earlier, trying to figure out which players were born on Tuesday. I don't think we found any.
We only found Anish Giri. Is the only, and we checked so many names. We could only find Anish Giri born on Tuesday. Hey, you guys at home, check. Were you born on the fabulous day that is Tuesday, now our favorite day?
But the king is so open, white king, so he has to spend a lot of time to make sure the king is safe.
And I guess what Hikaru is claiming is it's just a single check.
Yeah.
We talk about checks, captures, and threats. That is a check towards the white king, but this rook is threatening to capture a very important pawn in black's camp, because if Hikaru can get not just 1, but 2 rooks down in enemy territory, it's going to be the black king that suddenly is in trouble. So I think that strategically, black is doomed, but tactically and with the dynamics, black will have some great chances, and I actually think I would prefer to have the black side here.
It looks kind of easier to play with the black pieces, but you always have the threat of a mate at h2. But white has to be so careful with everything, and you also have the queen and the king in the same diagonal. So if you get the bishop on d4, then suddenly you have some very nasty imagery.
Now you're talking. That's really lovely. Just trying to get maximum use of the dark squares. And look at Hikaru. He's saying, get those queens off the board. How do you protect your king? If you're out there thinking, well, I feel really scared because my king's in danger. If the queens come off, that's the heaviest piece and that's the biggest attacker. But whoa, this is maybe the most valuable pawn in the position, because then black will have a passed pawn that's only 2 squares away from promotion. The time is about even. This is actually as exciting as it gets in the early rounds, but now it's suddenly white who is threatening a checkmate.
All right, Hikaru Nakamura, do you think he's stressed not to win this?
I think that he's confident because he knows that he's won the Speed Chess Championship so many times, that he is capable of winning against anybody on the planet. And now that he has 20-second lead and counting on the clock, I think he can breathe that sigh of relief.
Okay.
He's world class in anything regarding chess, but in bullet, that's where he's really good. And when he started getting into the world scene with bullet, not standard chess.
Which is just insane. Massive intuition is something Hikaru Nakamura definitely has. Slightly better on the bar now.
It's so tactical.
Oh, but now with the queens off the board, I see what the bard's jumping back and forth, but look at the clock. Those extra 15 or so seconds, that's what's going to tell the story here. And now the black king, it's feeling a little bit airy with more pieces coming off. Black's attacking chances aren't there, but what Witek is trying to rely on is, can these pawns get going? And Hikaru says, no, not so fast. I'm going to take them one by one.
Less than 30 seconds left for Witek. He is starting to look stressed, no doubt about that. But what a good game he is playing here against one of the best players in the world, Hikaru Nakamura.
Fantastic game, though, still from Witek. I mean, right now he's posing a serious problem. If Hikaru has dropped this pawn, and look at this pawn is 2 squares away from promotion. So if Witek can keep up the speed, he may be able to find himself winning this game. Oh, he's winning!
Wow.
He's winning! He found it! He's winning!
Wow.
What a shocking result here in round 2. And look at the celebration from FIDE Master Witek. Oh, I love it. We have celebrations. He beats Hikaru Nakamura in round 2. The FIDE Master beats the Grandmaster. How big of a shock is this, Robert?
I was just saying that Hikaru probably felt like the worst was behind him, and yet look at Witek. He's having the last laugh. And look at him. He's like, yes, thank you. And he should be thanking those plush dolls behind him. I think that's what gave him the strength to take down Hikaru.
Oh, this is fantastic to watch for Witek, an underdog beating one of the biggest favorites. Heartbreak for Hikaru Nakamura.
This is where online chess shines. You can see the players reacting like this. This is probably the best game Witek has played for a long, long time, maybe ever.
Yeah.
And he can celebrate, really celebrate. But you can't do that over the board. I mean, the table banging of Magnus Carlsen went around the world when he did that in Norway chess. But this is normal. You can do that in online chess, and I love it.
Exactly. Here we get it basically every single round. This is Hikaru reacting to that loss on his stream. Obviously not happy with how that game played out. What was the biggest issue here for Hikaru?
Well, for Hikaru, I think that he allowed his opponent to take too much claim of the board, that a lot of squares were weak, and eventually there was a pawn that was vulnerable, and Witek capitalized just when it looked like he was the one teetering on the edge of danger.
Well, no time to cry about losses, because round 3 is starting. These are the matchups. Should we follow Hikaru again, see if he can make a comeback? Would you like to see Fabi? He's against Rustamov, Magnus. What do you think, Robert?
Why don't we go to Fabiano for multiple reasons? Of course, we can talk about his C-Squared podcast and his feelings about the Title Tuesday format, but I'm also looking at the game, and I'm seeing that he's getting underway, and this isn't the Fabiano that I'm accustomed to. Like, he's playing different openings. He's trying to win as many games as possible. He always wants to win, of course. But in this kind of format, it's like the sprint. You got to keep going full speed ahead, and you want to win as many games as possible, especially when you outrate your opponent the way Fabiano does against Rustamov. But we just saw in FM beat a Super Grandmaster. I'm not counting anybody out.
Exactly.
But is he already training with his with new repertoire for the candidates? Because he's the first player ready for the candidates next year.
That's true.
So maybe he's trying to get some real game training in for the candidates.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to trick you into thinking that he might play this. And that's what the players do,
Yeah.
is they say, I'm ready for the candidates. I'm going to use all these different lines, so now I'm going to confuse you. I'm going to be a moving target. You can't just figure out what I'm going to do in each and every game. But, I mean, trying to figure out this position where not a single pawn has been traded, we see that both sides have their starting 8 pawns. For Fabiano on the white side, this pawn, that could be a bit of a weak point because you see 2 of Black's pieces already staring in that direction. So if Fabiano is not careful, that pawn may drop, but that's why he put his own queen in line. And think about what happens when the piece in between them gets out the way. If, in fact, Black takes this pawn, then White will take back in the center, and it will actually just be a fancy trade.
Fabiano Caruana is, of course, world number 3. He has been very openly critical about the new Title Tuesday format, especially the fact that players have to play using the system called Proctor, which is used by Chess.com for anti-cheating reasons. But here he is in Game Week 2. He's playing. We love to see Fabiano Caruana, the world number 3, playing here in Title Tuesday, of course, fighting for those crucial Champions Chess Tour points to qualify for the Esports World Cup. And here he is playing, probably from St. Louis.
He's not at the Grand Swiss. We know that. He was able to take it off because he already qualified for the candidates. He could get some time to himself. But for Fabiano, we know how strong he is. We know that he dabbles in all the formats. And he also was in the esports circuit, right? He was on Team Liquid.
Yeah. On the same team as Magnus Carlsen, Team Liquid. And
he's not qualified for the Esports World Cup yet. No, it's only Magnus, right?
Magnus is the only one ready for the Esports World Cup as the reigning champion. All the other ones have to qualify either through Speed Chess Championship, Chess.com Global Championship, or, of course, Title Tuesday. You score points every week.
Then Fabiano. You need the points.
Yeah, exactly. You need the points. Fabiano Caruana to win so far today, and it's looking massively better in Game 3.
Yeah, there was some nice prophylaxis, as we call it, by Fabiano. He put his rook on this square, which looks very strange, but it set up the following tactic. Now, and you see him play it, he's able to take this pawn, and when the queen takes back, originally, this pawn would have been in danger, but that's exactly why Fabiano put his own rook right in front of that pawn, or behind it, I should say, to keep it defended. So that's prophylaxis, high-level stuff from Fabiano. And the reason why he is better is you need to look at where the weaknesses are in a position. And here we see that this pawn in the center, I'm about to turn that red because White already has 2 pieces attacking it. And now with the queens coming off, it's going to be even more difficult for Rustamov to defend it.
Playing with the white pieces, ticked under 3 minutes now on the clock. Fabiano Caruana, no increment, of course, but he's looking chill, calm, confident in this round 3 game against a FIDE master. Much higher rated Fabiano Caruana.
Me being a hobby player, I would love to put my knight on e3 as black here, and I would like consider that is a very good trade-off. But what do you think about that?
You're asking the critical and difficult question, and I feel like I need more time, and both players do as well, because it's such a big trade that White will take that knight, Black suddenly gets a passed pawn, but is that pawn a strength? Is it a weakness? These are questions that are not easy to answer when you have under 3 minutes, but that question has to be answered now. So will Fabiano give his opponent this passed pawn? We saw what happened when Hikaru allowed we took that passed pawn. So Fabi says, no, that knight's not going anywhere. I'll leave it for at least one more turn. And eventually what Fabiano wants is to bring his king out and try to use the king as a weapon in the endgame.
Yeah, because the pawn on c2 is also a little bit weak with a rook. Now he's playing prophylactic and covering that pawn with his knight.
Yeah, Fabiano's getting defensive here. I think it's in part because he doesn't have that much time, and without any bonus time for the moves that are being made, he wants to play quickly. But look at this. That's actually why the knight came back to the first rank. It's protecting the pawn. Fabi, I mean, the way he is able to maneuver is just so brilliant. I mean, I was like, what is he doing? He's getting defensive. Yes, he's getting defensive so that in a second he can get offensive, but just time it right. That's the key here. And Fabiano may just bring his king to the center and say that that pawn that is on the opponent's territory is actually a liability rather than an asset.
What a king walk. Now he's going to pick up the pawn. No, he has so much time, he doesn't need to do it now, of course.
Wow, that's so instructive to see this kind of play. And what Rustamov is doing, give him credit. He's trying to break open a file because rooks need open territory. Now this bishop, I mean, that's not a good piece. Look at all of white's pawns here. We've got connect 4 in 2 different directions. We've got a pyramid staring into the center, and that bishop wants something to attack, but it's not going to be able to attack anything just yet. But Rustamov, he's trying his best, complicating matters, and he is quite a bit ahead on time. And Kai, we've seen how that can play a big role.
That pawn structure is beautiful, though. The symmetry, wow.
Yeah. Caruana has so good grasp of the strategic concepts of pawn play. And also that, what you said a couple of times, rook needs open file, so he's just preparing with rooks in both ends of the board. It's beautiful.
And it's very cool that he's done that multiple times on both sides, right? He's put his rook to defend a pawn. Now he put his rook to defend a file. So Fabiano, he clearly grasps what's required in this position. But Rustamov, credit, look at this. Now suddenly, like, there are things going on both sides. This pawn takes on the king side over here could cause Fabiano some issues. So he needs to look out in both directions. But for now, Rustamov, he's a really good bullet player, and he's up 25 seconds.
And like a traditional rule of thumb when you're playing against a black squared bishop is that you want your pawns on white squares. So this is what Caruana is doing now, I think.
You're right. He's just going to try to create a passed pawn. And, well, Rustamov again trying to complicate matters, saying, oh, here's a free pawn. Oh, wait, not so fast. My rook is going to move to the side and get it. And now those pawns are all on the dark squares once more. If black had enough time and the king could enter into the center, we'd be saying that there's some chances. But it does feel like Fabiano, he keeps jockeying back and forth, having everything under control. And most importantly, he is keeping that pace in the clock, but he does need to speed up.
Yeah, those 20 seconds is going to cost him.
Wow. Yeah. And Fabiano Caruana is known for being a fantastic chess player, but he's not known for being the fastest one.
No, he's played in the Bullet Chess Championship a number of times, and he typically stumbles in the earlier rounds. I mean, he's getting better, but he is not as good as, say, Hikaru, Magnus, Alireza, those players of that caliber. And right now, he's actually getting in some trouble here. There's serious danger as both black rooks are about to enter the party. Look at Rustamov. Look how determined he is. And Fabiano, he keeps barely keeping things together. He's trying to trade rooks on what will be an open file.
Those eyes from Rustamo, that's fierce, the youngster from Azerbaijan fighting here against world number 3. Fabiano Caruana ticking down to 40 seconds on the clock. Fabiano, can he win this game?
He's got a pass pawn. It looks like he's doing pretty well on the board, but I'm still keeping my eyes on the timer. And wow, that's a huge decision. We were just saying earlier how the black bishop didn't have much to do. Now it can scoop up a pawn, but Fabiano's best pawn is gone. He's trying to use the decoy all the way on the king side where the black king is, but Rustamov playing so well and Fabiano meeting him at every turn.
Magnus has won in round 3. 3 wins for him. Hikaru Nakamura has made a comeback, winning in round 3. Fabiano has also won 2 games so far today, fighting to win in round 3 as well. Much better on the bar, but those clocks are stressful.
And let's see if Fabiano has really upped his game the way that we've been discussing. He's up a pawn right now, and look at that. He doesn't recapture. He gets a quick check-in, gains a different pawn. He wants 2 unopposed passed pawns. That's what he's aiming for in this endgame. But he's just about leveling the clock. So both players hovering around 16 seconds, now down to 15. The black king is infiltrating. Watch out if you're Fabiano. I mean, black can't easily get away with some of these things. His trading rooks would be devastating, and that's why he's giving these checks. And Fabiano might just acquiesce to a draw.
Yeah,
there it is. Wow, fantastic result for young Rustamo from Azerbaijan. A draw against world number 3. Fabiano with the white pieces probably not super happy with the result here in this game, but the clocks definitely became an issue. Both of them red. It's a draw.
A draw isn't that much of a crisis, though, compared to a loss. Last week you won with 9.5 points.
Yep.
So a draw is just you can make 3 draws and still win.
You can still definitely become top. We are rounding up here. Round 3. Magnus has played, has gotten a win in round 3. 3 wins so far for Magnus. We do see a bunch of players still on 3 out of 3 points, but it's going to get tight as we get closer to 11 rounds. A comeback for Hikaru Nakamura, losing in round 2, winning in round 3. Alireza Firouzja, also one of the players Magnus Carlsen has named to be one of the favorites in the format, winning in round 3 and round 4. Oh, look at that. Magnus is playing Jumabayev. We had a very cool game with Jumabayev last week. I would love it if we can follow this game.
I've seen the images from that.
He had so much emotion on camera when I think he ended up winning on time against Alireza Firouzja.
Yeah, he's a great player, by the way. Jumabayev is one of the maybe lesser-known players, but he's been at such a high level for a long time. He knocked Fabiano Caruana out of the World Cup several years ago. So Jumabayev against Carlsen, excellent matchup. And I also want to note that Firouzja, he's won all his games, but he had a dirty flag in the game. He had no business winning that game. It was bishops of opposite colors moving around nonstop.
Losing on the board, winning on the clock, and that's what matters. The winner on the clock is the winner of the game. We're going to jump into round 4. Magnus Carlsen with the black pieces against Jumabayev. Magnus on a roll today. He's won 3 games so far. And what are we looking at here, Robert?
Well, we're looking at the start of a game where both players are getting their moves in. It's become what is known as the French defense structure. And I have been a long time hater of the French defense because this bishop that's sitting near the black queen, it's just staring into its own pieces. But all things considered, it's a normal looking position. It's a slow grinding type of position where there are no huge pawn breaks, no huge king safety issues. So it's about who will come up with the better plans. That's really the key to the castle in these French defense structures.
And whether that pawn on d4 is a strength or a weakness, right?
That's exactly right. So it can be a strength because it defends a pawn that's aiming in the direction of the black king, or it's a weakness because black has multiple knights staring at it. But you see what Jumabayev is capable of. He's saying, let's go, bishop staring in the direction of the black king. I'm not sure if it will ever work, but there are sometimes you want to make these aggressive pawn pushes, saying, I don't mind getting my own king in a bit of danger. I'm going for yours.
I like it. And then for a lot of players, it's easy to think that you now soon can pick up the pawn on d4, but then you have the bishop check on h7. So you always have to watch out for those kind of tactics.
Just exactly a second ago, it looked like black could have thought at least about taking that pawn, but as you said, white would have been able to use a tactic with this bishop staring through towards the black king. So right now, white has what we typically call a clamp. Black has his backwards pawn on e6. I'm going to turn that red so you can all see it. And a backwards pawn is one that can't easily push forward. It defends another pawn, that's the good news, but the square in front of it is quite covered, making it hard to move forward. And even if you can move forward, which perhaps Jumabayev is, Magnus is considering, then you're saddled with a different problem, an isolated queen pawn. And pawn's best friend is another pawn, everybody. You always want your pawns to be defended by another pawn, so you don't need to use a more valuable piece to defend.
But it's also going to be a free pawn. Well, not a free pawn, but a pass pawn. I mean, so in the end game, it can be a huge threat if you manage to trade off the e6 pawn for the d4 pawn.
That's right. And I mean, this pawn you mentioned earlier, it looks like you can capture it because you have 2 pieces staring there, but when there is a piece in between 2 pieces that can otherwise move in the same direction, watch out when it gets out the way. So do not be fooled. This pawn in the center is not hanging. Jumabayev way too strong, just hang that pawn. And wow, huge decision. We talk about how top level players, they love the pair of bishops. This is quite an open board. I think Magnus should be happy about this exchange where the knight has come off for this light square bishop, and Magnus, he's doing what I've always said is quite a mature thing, and now he's about to be a dad, so he's showing that responsibility, but he takes with the pawn. I think automatic response, bullet chess and queen takes to keep the status quo in terms of pawn structure, but he says, actually, my pawn is now more impressive, and if it keeps going, look at this bishop. Suddenly it has a new lease on life on this board, and now it's Magnus who can play for more of initiative.
Yeah, because that is the bishop you trash talked at the beginning, and now it's soon full of life.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that bishop. I apologize. I know I'm always the one hating on the French defense, but Magnus can make any opening look good. The Grub, you still need some work on that in the first round. That wasn't a perfect display, but of course he has a perfect score, and he also has a nearly 30-second lead.
Is this weird? Can he pick up the knight? Yeah, he can.
Oh, your tactical vision today is on point, but look what's happening here.
Wow.
We have all sorts of trades in different ways, and that's not something you typically see. But the whole point of that rook capture down there was removing the knight's defense of the bishop. That's hard to maybe picture in our heads, but this was all done because the alternatives were so bad. And black is better. A lot of people think that bishops of opposite color means equality, but that's not what it means. When you have bishops on opposite diagonals, it means maybe you can attack and your opponent can't defend. And also, look at the activity. There's a huge difference between this rook for black and this rook for white. It's not in the game. It will get there in a couple turns, but maybe black will be first, going for some sort of threats. So white is the one who needs to be more careful for the time being.
This looks like kind of easy caveman chess. You just move your king in and threaten queen in and threaten pawns around the king. And this is hard to defend, especially with just 2 minutes on the clock.
Because even if the white rook gets active, it's a single check. That's not going to checkmate the black king. So even if you get your rook all the way down here, so what? I mean, black's pieces are beautifully placed, nicely centralized. There's always back rank issues against the white king, whereas the black king can always tuck itself away on a light square. And don't be surprised if Magnus starts trying to use this pawn as a kind of a battering ram, trying to expose the white king. And, well, I haven't even looked at it in a while. The time is about a minute ahead for Magnus.
This is starting to look grim for the Kazakh player, but also the pawn on d4 looks to be weaker than the pawn on d5 now, because of the activity of the pieces.
And what Magnus wouldn't do to throw that pawn off the board. Like, if you can line your bishop and your queen up and go for checkmate, and that's the thing. Like, I'm half joking, but sometimes when you lose a pawn, you open a file or a diagonal. So sometimes the best defense, everyone, is to actually give away a slight bit of material, give away a pawn to open up squares for your remaining pieces. And Jumbaev's doing his best. He wants to get that queen active, but you see the bar is going all the way in black's favor because of simple chess. The king is safe and sound.
Now Magnus is just giving off his b7 pawn if Jumbaev wants it. But you can't do that because of the bishop on e1, of course.
What bishop? That's a big pawn. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's all problems across the board. Look, even this move. White is playing defensively turn after turn, defending a pawn, but actually restricting your own mobility. And so for Magnus, he's got a number of options. He chooses to rumble forward. Why not go for that white king that's lacking defenders? And he could even bring his queen back, then bring the bishop. And I was joking earlier about this kind of checkmating idea, but now it looks a lot more realistic.
He's just forcing open the position around the white king. This is quite masterful to see.
It's just beautiful technique, and this is what Magnus can do. It doesn't matter what the rating next to his opponent's name is. He can just make them look like he's on a different level altogether. And Jumbaev is amazing. He's a phenomenal player, has been for so long. But in this game, it just seems like Magnus has had the control. Jumbaev gave away a bishop for a knight, and since then, the tactics haven't worked in his favor. And oof, this king here, I don't know if it's that much longer for this board.
Magnus Carlsen seems to be on fire today. Won 3 games so far. This is round 4, and it's looking very good for him to go 4 out of 4 so far. Jumbaev struggling not only on the board, but also on the clock.
Big moment here. Magnus is calculating this rook sacrifice. I'm not even positive it works, and he went for the simpler option, just taking a pawn in front of the white king. And what Jumbaev is hoping for is to use this pawn as a shield. Like, it's black's pawn, but actually keeps white's king a little bit safer in some lines because you can't deliver a check, because you would actually want to get rid of the pawn. I've said this many times now. You'd like to actually capture your own pawn and deliver a checkmate, but that's not how chess works.
It's quite fun because when you start to play chess, you always want to capture the pieces, especially when you have a pawn in your own backyard, like Jumbaev have now. But oftentimes that's even the best defensive piece is the opponent's pawn.
That's true. It's a shield, it's an umbrella pawn. But right now, I think it's raining problems on white's position because for Magnus, there are so many pawns that he can capture. I enjoy the restraint. He says, I don't care about pawns. I care about the whole thing. That's checkmate. Yeah. That pawn we were talking about, it's a shield. No, that's actually a weapon that he is about to use to deliver the final knockout.
Yeah, Jumbaev is going to...
Is he going to lose on time or the board?
Oh, both. He was graceful enough to resign with 1 second on the clock.
1 second on the clock. It's resignation from Dumabaya. Magnus Carlsen winning. Also in round 4, he's on 4 out of 4 on fire today. The world #1. And here with the black pieces. Looking happy, I have to say. And he's now going to get a little bit of a break, because there is a break after round 4 before round 5 starts. And I can see a lot of results coming in. We have Magnus Carlsen streaming here from the Oslo office, and so is Alexander Bortnik, the Ukrainian Grandmaster, and very entertaining streamer. Let's check, how is he doing today? He had a very good start. He was, I think, on 3 out of 3.
He's on 4 out of 4.
He's on 4 out of 4. Alexander Bortnik. All right, we're going to keep a close eye on him as well. Maybe we even follow his game in round 5.
You see all the 3 players that Robert highlighted is on 4 out of 4.
Well, I think I had a little bit of an upper hand because Magnus was one of the players mentioned, wasn't that?
That's
So,
true.
you expect Bortnik, who is here
Yep.
in Oslo with us in one of the streaming rooms. Of course, he's phenomenal, and no matter where he's playing from. And Renato Terry, do not sleep on that name throughout this split. I mean, he is so strong.
Wow, international master Terry on 4 out of 4. You called it, Robert. Look at that. All right, all the games are finishing up. Alireza Firouzja, a win for him as well. Bortnik, as mentioned, a win for him. And I think Hikaru Nakamura also won his game after losing in round 2. Hikaru Nakamura is making a comeback in the tournament. Maybe he can fight his way into top 10. Remember, top 10 players score points in the Champions Chess Tour leaderboard. All right, there's going to be a 6-minute break now, but we're going to keep it going in the studio and get ready for round 4. Round 5. This is the Premier League of chess.
Here we go.
All right, you guys, it's intense. Title Tuesday, 5+0.
I just took a little bit of a step back here. I was like, oh, I can breathe, and like I'm just taking it all in. Like,
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this tournament is you get so many complex games that sometimes are settled by scrambles and other times by nice knockout checkmates.
Yeah, it's very much like sports, right? With this intense time control and fantastic chess. It really is bringing chess into the world of sports. And talking about the world of sports, it's very common in sports broadcast to do action replays. We're going to do an action replay now of something big that has happened so far today. Hikaru Nakamura lost in round 2 against a FIDE master. What are we looking at here, Robert?
Well, you see that Hikaru had a lead on the clock, and it's been a complicated game the whole way through. But look at that black pawn right next to that rook. Now it's highlighted there. It's approaching the other side. So Hikaru did his best. He grabbed a couple pawns. He's up 2 of them. But it's not about the quantity. It's about the quality. And in the end here, there was a pin. That pawn was becoming a queen. And the celebration, the jubilation from the man with the ironing board and the plush dolls behind him, and Hikaru, he just had to stare out in the distance in disbelief because he's just thinking, what did I do wrong? Well, what you did wrong is play a great opponent.
Frustration for Hikaru Nakamura there, losing in round 2. Surprising result. Of course, he is one of the top dogs, but he's won 3 other games. So can he still make it, do you think, Christopher, into top 10?
Of course, because if Nakamura goes on a streak, he can beat anyone.
Yeah.
So he can lose against anyone also, apparently. But he only needs 10 wins to win the whole shebang. So it's still possible, theoretically. But practically, I don't know.
It's going to be difficult, especially with Magnus Carlsen being one of the players on fire, you guys. Title Tuesday is so entertaining. Something else that is entertaining is videos up on the Take YouTube channel. Take a look.
He's just made 20 moves. Has he survived? No, because it's checkmate.
Yeah, but I made 20 moves.
No, it says 21. 21. But it says survive 20 moves, and you made 20 moves, and you did not survive. So it's $50. $50. I will give you $50.
Okay, yeah.
$50.
60.
55.
60, 70, and you get a free ice cream.
Okay, deal.
I don't know why everyone thinks I calculate well.
Because you actually calculate.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just quitting the interview, okay, sorry. Minute of silence.
Have I been too harsh?
Everything is harsh, come on.
Too generous?
I mean, this was the best picture.
Let's find out. He's here, in a school gym on the outskirts of Oslo, facing an opponent he hasn't played in a decade. His former coach, Simon Agdestein.
Just playing the games is, like, regardless of setting, it's nerve-wracking.
some highlights from a couple of the videos up on the Take YouTube channel. We did enjoy having Anish Giri in Oslo, a player born on a Tuesday, which we found out before the show. And yeah, go check out our YouTube channel and give us a subscription, give us a like if you enjoy the content that we bring to you guys. We will, of course, broadcast every single Title Tuesday going forwards, and you can also follow Magnus's Point of View stream, and Alexander Bortnik is streaming today. Should we follow Bortnik if he has a cool matchup in the next round?
He might even play Magnus. We're getting to that point where all these top dogs, the undefeated players, they're going to have to square off. So we might get Bortnik against Magnus, and even if it's not Magnus, it will be somebody super strong.
Yeah, exactly. Bortnik, one of the players on 4 out of 4. Oh! What is that? Is that the biggest glass of water you ever...
Is that
well,
or
isn't
is it
that
him?
the plant?
Yeah. I think actually that is a vase.
Yeah. It maybe, is that, well, imagine it's for his shirt. That's why he has that. You know, he's just making sure that his whole self is nourished.
Well, he's definitely not going to be dehydrated. There is enough water in that streaming room. He's streaming from the Dave Cave, Alexander Bortnik, and he's playing some fantastic chess. He's on 4 out of 4 as we're heading into round 5. Remember, each Title Tuesday is 11 rounds. Time control is 5+0, no increment. And we've also already seen drama on those clocks today. Magnus Carlsen is on fire, 4 out of 4. So is Alireza Firouzja, a player who's also fighting for a spot in the candidates tournament right now, playing in the Grand Swiss. Are you surprised that so many of those players finishing their games early enough also signed up for Title Tuesday? Or does that show us that Title Tuesday really means a lot this year for qualification to Esports World Cup?
Oh, it definitely means a lot because there's, instead of just the first prize and some good games to play, like there's a lot more at stake with each and every Title Tuesday. I also think for the players in the Grand Swiss, with the day off tomorrow, it gives them a little bit of like a different vibe. Like instead of just focusing so much on these 7-hour games, they can like say, okay, I'm just going to play, you know, several minutes at a time. And if I play against Magnus Carlsen, that's pretty good preparation for your classical event.
Exactly. We do have matchups coming in for round 5. Look at that. Magnus is playing against, is that Lenya Dominguez? Probably. Also on 4 out of 4. Naroditsky against Alireza Firouzja. I have a feeling we should choose that game.
You know, that's bound to be an exciting game.
Yeah. All right. Let's pick Daniel Naroditsky, a famous player, of course, but also commentator and streamer, up against Alireza Firouzja. All right. We're going to follow that in round 5.
I like this image of Daniel.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like, he's kind of a shadowy figure. He's, you know, lurking. And you see Alireza's laughing. These two are very good friends.
Yeah.
They played so many games against one another. And we see that Alireza playing from, I assume, his hotel room in Samarkand.
Probably.
And this opening approach is one where it's quite solid. And Firouzja, well known for his talent in chaotic positions. In fact, there's much has been said that when Alireza is playing, the accuracy from both him and his opponents is lower than the rest of the field. And that sounds like a bad thing until you realize he's bringing his opponent into that deep, dark forest, as the saying goes. And there's only a path out for one. And Alireza Firouzja is usually that one. But right here, right now, it looks like queens may come off. And these two longtime friends, they've played so many games against one another. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what to do when you have that much experience against someone.
Look at that. We have Daniel Naroditsky. He also played fantastic in the World Rapid and Blitz Championships in December. I remember. Had a fantastic run there. And here he is on 4 out of 4 so far in Title Tuesday.
What I like with this compared to like FIDE Rapid and Blitz is that there you can take a draw and a draw and a draw and come far up. But here, it's only top 10 that matters.
Yeah.
Nothing else. You have to win. You have to play for a win. And you can't, especially not this early, you can't play for a draw this early. You need to grind out the slow wins.
Exactly. That's what we love with chess, right?
Yeah.
You see how focused both these players are. I mean, you see Danya, hand on his head. It's his, affectionately known as Daniel. It's Daniel Naroditsky there. And there was a problem, and he just defended the weak point in his position. It does feel like Black's position is a little bit more stable. When everyone at home, when you're trying to evaluate a position like this, you do have the evaluation. We're saying White's slightly better, but that's not telling the tale here. Suddenly there are tactics. The bishop is under attack. If the pawn takes what looks like a free knight, that bishop is hanging. And I think Daniel did the right thing. I was just highlighting this knight over here as an active piece. White's pieces didn't feel quite as active. He may retreat this knight to try to trade it off, or if this bishop moves elsewhere, the knight can even dive into the black camp and say, I'll one-up your knight for an even more active knight for me.
Daniel Naroditsky with head in hands, 3 minutes and 40 seconds still on his clock, the same as Alireza Firouzja, known as maybe the quickest player of all, the quickest one on the mouse. Is that Alireza Firouzja?
I think there are some hidden talents who are good at 10-second, and I'm going to put chess in air quotes because it's not, at that point you're just who's got the faster mouse skills. But yeah, I mean, all the top players, they compliment Alireza with how quick he is at making difficult decisions. And at the moment, I mean, they have a lot of time, but this position is actually quite complex because we don't have a symmetrical pawn structure. Something to keep in mind. We have players playing on different sides of the board. You see that Black is, has a bunch of pieces over here where this rook and knight are. So not easy to figure out the nuances.
Always entertaining when we have the kings on opposite sides of the board.
But normally it's more entertaining with the queens on the board because then you have a huge attacking chess. But this is much more strategic play, which makes it more harder, to be honest, with this little time on the clock, because you need to find those nuances in the position, as you said.
That's exactly right. With queens on the board, you're like, let me throw my pawns at the opponent's king and try to checkmate. Now it's like, wait, does this little pawn push, does it help me? Does it hurt me? Where do my pieces belong? And strategizing like that isn't so simple. I can tell you for sure that this black rook over here doesn't really belong there. Like, that's a bad piece. It's kind of boxed in. It has nowhere to go that looks particularly active. And look at what Danya has done from the white side. He says, your pawn break that you want, that's definitely not happening. I've got complete control of that square. So what is your rook doing here? It's staring at your own pawn that's already defended. So Danya has a little bit more flexibility. I think he's actually outplaying Alireza. And, well, the time is about even. So I think Danya, look at this, this is just really instructive stuff. That knight wasn't doing the most on the king side. Now it's going to come back, reinforce. It can go up in either direction, putting pressure on the black rook, but also putting pressure on maybe this pawn here. White just is slightly better.
Okay, already getting tense this game. 2 players on 4 out of 4. Will we see one of them on 5 out of 5?
Difficult question to answer. So much respect between these two, and I guess here we go. I was going to say it's a very calm position, but it was the calm before the storm because these pawns are about to storm all the way up.
Still a lot of pawns on the board.
Yeah, 7 each.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not many trades happening. And, will we get a repetition? Will we get the rook going back and forth and the knight chasing it away? That's a big question right now. And Alireza, I see a little bit of smirk there, so I feel like he's considering it.
Yeah. Okay, are we seeing that repetition? It's a draw between 2 fantastic blitz players, Daniel Naroditsky and Alireza Firouzja, both going then to 4.5 points. A little bit disappointing.
Yeah, I'm always disappointed when players take, it's not a quick draw because you've played so many moves, but I'm still disappointed because I want to see the fighting chess. And it was an uneven position that they maybe should have tried to squeeze a little bit more out of. There are some players in the field today that would not have taken that draw.
Yeah. Well, it means that we're going to have time to jump into another game. Let's go to our live center to get the bird's eye view on everything happening here in round 5. Magnus is still live against a fantastic player, Lenya Dominguez-Perez. Bortnik, maybe winning there.
Yes.
Should we go to Bortnik?
Let's go to Bortnik.
All right.
We have looked at a bunch of Magnus games earlier. Bortnik, he's right next door to Magnus. They're both playing and streaming here in the studio. And look at this last move. I just wanted to point that out, that this rook is hanging in the corner. There's nothing protecting that rook. And what Bortnik has just done is he said, have it. If we do a quick count of material, Black has 1, 2, 3 minor pieces. White has 4. So White is actually up a piece. We should take note of that. And Well, that was a sad move. The queens came off, and now white is officially a piece ahead. Black didn't take the rook in the corner because the queen would have been tracked, and the black king would have been in grave danger. So Bortnik, I mean, he's got not just the upper hand, he's got a completely winning position. I think it's a very strong Iranian international master.
But it's still only 1 minute on the clock. So a piece, I mean, I've seen worse players win games a piece down.
But I think Bortnik, with that lead on the clock, he's stabilizing everything here.
He's so good in games like this, though. So yeah, maybe not Bortnik, maybe not Nakamura, but I mean, 1 minute, anything can happen, and it's so hard.
That's true. I mean, even this moment, there could have been some tactics, but Bortnik, he had calculated everything to a T. Everything is defended. Down goes another pawn over here. So Mahdavi, really talented player, has a lot of experience online, but no amount of experience will make up for being down a full night against Alexander Bortnik.
It's looking very good for Alexander Bortnik, the Grandmaster from Ukraine, streaming today from the Dave Cave here in Oslo. He is close to going up to 5 points, 5 out of 5. This is round 5 out of 11 rounds in Title Tuesday. This is game week 2, and it's looking good for our friend Bortnik.
This is typical, though. If you're a piece up, you should just try to trade off as many other pieces, because then it's easier, make it easier on the board, so that you don't, you have less chances of making a mistake.
Exactly right, and that's what Bortnik's going for. He's like, I don't need every single extra pawn. I have an extra piece. And look at this, another trade, exactly what you were saying. Get those rooks off the board, because he knows this is winning. It's not even a question for either player. But Mahdavi, I mean, he's doing the right thing. Like, he shouldn't resign. He should play this out, and he's actually now ahead on the clock. So it could be a mistake from Bortnik if he is not continuing his accuracy.
Playing, it seems like, with his laptop maybe on his lap, because that's what Title Tuesdays are like. You can play from anywhere.
Bortnik has only 25 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just got to move. I mean, he is going to go after Black's remaining pawns, but he's not doing himself any favors by being down 4 to 7 seconds. But I mean, he's so fast. I've said it all the time. Even in bullet chess, he'll be down 10 seconds, and then he just starts hitting the ground running, and he will not stop.
Yeah. This is over, but with this, you should never resign. I hate the fact that chess players tend to resign too early. You should always try to grind it out. I like the fighting spirit of Mahdavi.
But this is the end, because he's stopping the plan. I have the arrows on. And Bortnik saying, nope, that's going to happen. And the point is that the king can take this knight now, but when that happens, the pawn promotes. And Bortnik, he is 5 out of 5.
Wow, impressive stuff by Alexander Bortnik, winning his 5th game. Mahdavi ticking down to 10 seconds on the clock and resigning in a lost position. Okay, he's on a roll, young Bortnik. And streaming, of course, you can check out his point of view stream on the Take YouTube channel. I think it's probably very entertaining. I've seen a lot of his streams. He is a very entertaining player.
Look at his shit. Of course he's entertaining.
Exactly. You can just see it on him. Fantastic run for him so far. Talking to his fans on the stream, and we do have a bunch of results coming in. Magnus Carlsen also going up to 5 out of 5.
Now
Terry as well.
Now 2 of your favorites has to meet.
Yeah, the 3 players we had our eyes on to start the day. Magnus Carlsen, everyone is looking out for his games, but Bortnik at 5 out of 5, Renato Terry, and don't count out Sina Movahed. I see him there. He beat Martin Kravtsev with the black pieces, a youngster from Iran. We mentioned a couple young Iranians, and Alireza, who is born in Iran, now plays for France. Many talents, Parham Maksudlu. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah. Exactly. Maksudlu, who is in the lead in Grand Swiss after 6 rounds, also playing here in Title Tuesday. We love to see that. And now we're super excited to see matchups for round 6. It would be cool to see Bortnik against Magnus, of course, our 2 players streaming from Oslo today. But either way, we're going to look at some cool matchups. 4 players on 5 out of 5. How did Hikaru do? And he won. Yeah.
So he's on 5.
So Hikaru is on 5 points, still has a chance. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. It's also easier because if you lose early, you will always meet a little bit lower rated players, so you can come from behind and suddenly take the entire field in a wave.
Exactly.
The problem, though, with that is your tiebreaks suffer. Yeah. So when there are no split places and the points are up for grabs, he can't just rely on, oh, make a draw in that last round and be safe, my tiebreaks. No, he's always going to have lower tiebreaks because he lost early.
Exactly.
Definitely. So that means Nakamura needs to win his last games.
Exactly. All right, we have matchups for round 6 coming in, you guys. Should we follow Magnus in this one? He's up against Movahed, the young Iranian player, as you mentioned, Robert. That's going to be a cool one.
Super strong youngster. I mean, Sina has been around for a bit. It's funny when I'm talking about these teenagers, like, yeah, they've been playing for like half a decade, but it's true. I mean, Sina's been playing these tournaments for so long, and I wouldn't even consider him that much of an underdog. Of course, Magnus is the strongest player there is, but Sina, he's very fast.
He's going to have the white pieces against Magnus. The game has started. 5 minutes on the clock. No increment. Will we see one of these go up to 6 out of 6? Here we go.
Well, right now we see Sina Movahed's photo. He looks very decorated there.
Yeah.
He's got his lanyard, as all chess players do, to be allowed in the premises.
Yeah.
And then he's got his flowers, the wreath, everything, because he won. And right now we got to see some chess moves coming in. And see, there they go. There they all go. They're getting a sharp Sicilian, hopefully, between two very, players who are very hungry for more points.
Oh, yeah. Born in 2010, around the time Magnus Carlsen took over the #1 spot on the world rankings. But here he is fighting against Magnus, both on 5 points.
Look at this setup right now. We want to see sharp Sicilian. Everybody does. But what Sina is saying is, let me just take control of some squares. This sort of Marozzi bind structure, as it's called, is you'll see that these pawns here for white take control of the center, stop black from pushing over here. So it's difficult for black to make progress. And I always say the side that controls the pawn breaks is usually the side with the advantage. And white actually is the one who can control certain pawn breaks, but don't rush to do that. Because anytime you push a pawn, you leave a square behind. So if white does make the pawn push that my arrow shows, then black eventually will get this really juicy central square. So don't rush unless you're certain that it's a good decision.
But this is Magnus is using a lot of time here. I think usually when you're in form, you find the moves quickly in blitz, and then you just push out the moves. And here Magnus is struggling a bit.
But you remember what I said about quick tactics? That's exactly what Movahed is using here, is that you can think about pushing this pawn, and the white knight may still plant itself. And you see Magnus, he realized that, this can be dangerous quickly, because the point is, everybody, that loose pieces drop off. And if the F file opens up, that's where this rook is sitting, that's the black king side that can be in serious danger. In particular, there's this knight that I'm turning into red. That knight could be loose. So if the pawn goes forward, don't be surprised when Sina quickly gallops in to enemy territory, causing some big problems for Magnus to figure out. And Magnus, down almost a minute.
This is interesting.
Oh, he went back.
Wow.
Oh, I'm surprised. I mean, it's not a bad decision. I said before, perfect is the enemy of the good, but I thought for sure that he was going to go forward and try to create chaos in the black camp.
He still can, or just using a little bit more time to reposition the knight on, like, for example, d5 or maybe even f5.
It's true. The knight eventually will regroup. Central squares are very important, and black cannot control them. You want to control squares with pawns. That way you don't use more important, heavier pieces to defend them. And right now, speaking of heavy pieces, that knight move from Magnus, it opens up the bishop, not just to develop, but to attack a rook. And I think Magnus, even though he's worse, and we see the bars is massively better for white, the players don't know that. Like he knows that he's not in the best shape, but Sina Movahed doesn't know that he's, like, according to this bar, almost winning.
But where is the black king going to be safe here?
Don't ask me that question. I'm here to talk about certain things. I'm not talking about that.
King safety is for sisters.
Yeah, this is not relevant in this position. I mean, to answer your question, nowhere. The king is not going to be safe. You could try to go to the queen side. That's not going to be any safer because you've already pushed pawns up. And when you push pawns, you leave air in front of your king.
Yeah.
Magnus Carlsen not looking happy here.
Yeah, this is the black has kind of a double-edged position, because if he gets out of it, he has an open line, G line down to the white king. So that's what I would think as a pub chess player. I would love something like that and just double up and go straight for the king. But he's so vulnerable with a black king. So it's hard to find anything safe.
I love that you can call yourself a pub chess player and mean it literally. Like that is
And
awesome.
actually own a chess pub.
Yeah, that is so awesome. And speaking of, they usually say coffee house tactics, pub tactics. Rook takes knight, bishop takes back, then throw your own knight into the center with a fork. The black queen will escape back to the start and protect, but that's just the start of it, right? Like the white pieces will continue to jump into the position, but what Sina Movahed needs to do is play quickly. I mean, he is now down almost a minute. 2 minutes from this position?
He spent 2 minutes on this position. And, I mean, he can play something safe like rook f1, but he can also just push his bishop up to like g5 or something, just to push even more up and have the a rook come into the f1 square as well.
Exactly, that rook can jump into the game ASAP, but do we know if Sina's lost connection? Because it's starting to feel like he may not actually be at the board right now.
Yeah. Is it disconnection or is it the nerves? The 15-year-old from Iran is in a great position against Magnus Carlsen, massively better on the bar. Toivo Chess in the Twitch chat saying, let's effing go. Movahed, he's got some fans out there, and this would be an incredible win for him, but he has to move.
I think his
Probably.
Yeah, you don't spend this much time. He's way too seasoned to spend all of his time because there's no increment. So
there he is. Oh, yeah,
he's
you
back.
can see.
Oh, yeah, he's upset. You can see it.
Oh, that's heartbreak. Magnus laughing maybe out of just sympathy, and look at the anger. Oh, this is just massive frustration. He is massively better. He is winning against Magnus Carlsen on the board. And technology is just the worst for young Movahed right now.
His camera is like his chances is gone. I mean, he is, at this point, and the problem is like now there's this like maybe like burden on Magnus. Should he offer a draw? Should he like be kind and considerate? But like it's a competition, and your own connection. I mean, unfortunately, that's part of the equation. And I'm not putting blame on Sina, and it could be some server. Who knows, right? But the point is that Sina's no time, and that means that he is going to lose this game.
This is heartbreaking. Magnus Carlsen getting so lucky here in round 6. He is losing on the board, but he is winning on technology. And there we have it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's a loss on the clock for Movahed.
This is just sad.
I know.
Oh, poor guy.
He was winning against the world #1 on the board, but he loses on time. Disconnection, heartbreak, and look at Magnus. What do you think he's thinking right now?
I think he knows that he did not play the start of that game very well, but he'll forget about it quickly because he is a perfect scorer. He should be very happy, and we see many smiles from Magnus.
He is on 6 out of 6. Magnus Carlsen winning by luck in round 6, but it is a full point for him.
People say there's no luck in chess, but here we have the proof that
this one, we will blame this one on luck for Magnus Carlsen. A win. He's on 6 out of 6. Will Terry or Bortnik join him? Should we jump into that game? These players also on 5 out of 5. Bortnik is streaming here from Oslo, playing against international master Terry, who was top 10 last week in game week 1. And one of the players Robert told us to watch out for. What are we looking at here?
You always have to watch out for Renato Terry, but you also have to watch out for Oleksandr Bortnik. He was one of the players that we had our eyes on because he is sneakily, both sides actually, threatening some kind of checkmating nets. White's rooks were really, if this white rook can land the second rook behind the black king, that's checkmate. So that's why Bortnik is scrambling. He's getting out of there. His king is going to continue to run. But whose king is worse? Suddenly it's the white king that could be in danger if he's not careful.
Wow.
Ooh,
Did he blunder?
Is happening?
Blunder the mate? Or blunder
no. The king is not escaping? Is that the point? But the king, there's got to be something. Maybe is as simple as rook down? Doesn't look like it. The escape. So what is it here? It's back to level. Maybe there was one move and it wasn't found.
Yeah, that's the time trouble. You have to find the one perfect move, and with 30 seconds on the clock, that's often not easy because you're so focused on playing quickly.
I'm not sure who's got the better chances here. Both sides down to about 30 seconds. White is up 2 pawns, but the black king is trying to help surround the white king for a checkmating net, I think Bortnik's in trouble here. Renato Terry now is up 10 seconds. Unless Bortnik can find a repetition, just repeating the position to make it a draw, I think he's just going to lose this one.
Really much better on the bar for Terry, but they have so little time on the clock. Will we see one?
Blunder!
Oh.
He got skewered over there. And the good news for Terry is he's up so much time. The bad news is he's now down a rook.
Yeah. Now Bortnik just has to get rid of the one pawn and the rook and just go for the draw, because he's going to lose this on time if he doesn't.
Although, the movie's Need for Speed could have starred Alexander Bortnik. He is that fast. And right now he is down to about 7 seconds. Time is ticking. And he really desperately wants to get the rooks off the board, but he can give checks, and checks take time to respond to. Oh, another skewer.
What's happening? Mate in 14.
He's going to take this in 4 seconds. He's pre-moving like a king.
Oh, look at that fist pump. Bortnik is absolutely in form right now. He made mistakes. It wasn't a perfect game, but it was a perfect outcome. And Renato Terry, you see his hand on his head. He is in disbelief.
It's
another heartbreak.
Yeah, those double blunders like that, it's the worst.
Yeah.
And then, now he can end up losing the next game also, because it's not easy resetting yourself after a loss like this. That's you're a really good sportsman if you manage to reset yourself completely after a horrible loss like this.
Yeah.
So unnecessary.
Oh, look at the anger from Terry. Title Tuesday is brutal with 5+0 on the clock. Blunders from Terry there in winning position means Bortnik takes the full points and he joins Magnus Carlsen on 6 out of 6. That must mean
Carlsen versus Bortnik.
The two players in the house. We're going to have Streaming Room versus Streaming Room. Magnus versus Bortnik in round 7. No question which game we will follow. It will be this one. Will we see one of them reach 7 out of 7? Or will it be a draw? But the game is starting. Magnus Carlsen will have the white pieces against Bortnik, playing only a couple of meters away from him here in the Oslo office. Fantastic. Look at this. What kind of opening are we looking at, Robert?
So what's the rule, by the way? Like, if one of them is losing, can they run into the other room and do something? Like
disconnect something.
Yeah, like pull up.
We have a bet here.
Yeah, they can really just yell at each other from a distance.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, what can you expect? Well, when you're seeing Magnus Carlsen throw, as Simon would say, Harry the H-pawn forward, it's not going for a checkmating attack, but it does gain space, and it may prevent Black from executing on some of the typical ideas. One of those ideas is maybe to push the pawn center and take back with your knight. But
and I have to mention the glass battle is on. Both drinking from some serious vases, some huge glasses in both streaming rooms.
we need to get some of those for us. We're just normal cups.
I know.
What's wrong with us? Why didn't we think about that?
All right, it's huge glass against huge glass, vase versus vase. Magnus Carlsen versus Bortnik, 2 players on 6 points. This is a big one. Will one of them go up to 7 points? Remember, Bortnik has a massive score actually against Magnus Carlsen, one of the players Magnus struggles with in online blitz chess. And I think actually Bortnik mentioned to me yesterday that he's won against Magnus the 2 previous times they met in Title Tuesday.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Bortnik has like 13 or 14 points in Title Tuesday against Magnus's 20. So that's a very good score in the Title Tuesdays. And this is so unbalanced. This is not going to end in a boring draw.
All right.
This is a fun one for sure, because Magnus is taking an aggressive approach from the white side. You see his pawn is stormed all the way up north near the Black King. And what does that pawn do? It actually restricts Black's later access. Watch out for back rank checkmates. But what's the problem with White's position? That White has these double pawns. Maybe they'll get undoubled. But still, this pawn here, I'm going to turn it red. It's not actually that strong in many lines. And Black can even consider throwing things open. That bishop that's in the corner, nobody puts baby in the corner. That bishop will stare through. And whether Patrick Swayze's here or not, and rest in peace, there could be some problems.
I just envisioned that beautiful dance across the board there. All right, Magnus Carlsen, 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. No increment. He is better on the bar, but anything can happen in this game still.
And I love the way that Magnus is playing, because this pawn tension, he says, have this pawn. It's free. You can grab it. But when you take that pawn, you give White control of important central squares. And so that's why Bortnik is finishing his development. And the thing I like most from Sasha, that's Bortnik, his perspective, is that he's doing very well on the clock. Like, you can't be struggling on the board against Magnus and also be down 30 seconds. You actually need to keep the pace to put that pressure back on the world number one.
We have two players on 6 out of 6, and they're playing against each other here in Oslo. Magnus against Alexander.
But how is Magnus going to get rid of that pesky C pawn that is backwards? He has to have some kind of plan for it.
He's not going to, not very easily, which means that the black knight at some moment can actually sink its teeth into that square, and that could become a bit of a nuisance. And this rook for Bortnik doing well, covering the central square here. So both sides are just trying to figure out the right plan, and now Magnus really is up that 25, 30 seconds, and this is what I was saying Bortnik needs to avoid. He is objectively worse. He's got less space. His bishop, it still is in the corner. No matter what I say, it still remains there. But Magnus is now controlling the board and the clock.
He's looking confident. Magnus Carlsen up against Bortnik. This is Title Tuesday, Game Week 2 in the autumn split. Remember, everyone fighting for points towards the Champions Chess Tour leaderboard. 6 players will make it through to the Esports World Cup next year. And Magnus has a few points on that list after becoming 5th in Title Tuesday last week. He is really eager to win it this week.
It's funny, he doesn't even need to qualify, but he just loves winning.
Yeah.
And winning is what he does best. And right now here, he's putting pressure, and he wants to win this pawn in Black's camp if that Black queen is ever to run away. So, Bortnik's doing his best. He's just trying to activate his pieces, but you keep seeing the bar slide better and better for White. And the reason why is now there's full reinforcement here in the center. You see these pawns? Well, they may not stay there for long. They can start pressing forward, and Bortnik doesn't have active plans of his own.
But it's so interesting because from a pub chess point of view, you would always love to have your pawns connected rather than single islands like Magnus has. Magnus has 3 pawn islands, while Bortnik has them all well connected. So I would think that Black is decent if it hadn't been for the C7 pawn and the H6 pawn.
Now, I like what you're saying there, that in terms of the principles of chess, we're often taught that we want fewer pawn islands because, as we're talking, pawns defend each other. They're each other's best friend. But here, look at White's pawns that keep pressing forward, gaining more space. And Black's pieces are clumsy. They're stepping on each other's toes. Out goes the knight, but to where? There's no avenue of attack. White's king is perfectly safe. Black's king still is boxed in. There could be back rank checkmates. And the worst part of all, Bortnik down to 1 minute, 15 seconds, scratching his head because he has no idea what to do. And even if I could go over there and tell him what to do, I wouldn't know what. His position is very difficult.
Yeah, that's so huge a time. And it's also fun when you see artists that work, because when you know the basic principle of arts, you can break the rules. And it's the same with chess, that when you know the principles, you can break them, and then you make beautiful chess games.
And also being a principal means you're in control, and he's teaching us all a lesson here as Magnus Carlsen of how to increase your advantage. He is much better. I think that for many of you watching this, you can just see that he now has a protected pass pawn in the center. That is a beauty there. And whoa, he actually decides to get rid of his own pass pawn. The reason why is that the Black king is in danger with or without queen. So even if these queens come off the board, that there's going to be, and there they go, there are back rank issues for the king. Bortnik's king, if it gets checked, it might be mated.
Yeah, because he adheres to the Kaiser's rules of chess. If you can play en passant, you should.
Is that the rule? I thought it was never play for a draw.
yeah, I have several rules of chess. That doesn't always make sense.
It's funny because en passant is either illegal or you have to do it. There's no middle ground, right? Yeah. And in this game here, Bortnik, credit to him, he's actually like fighting quite valiantly, but he is down under a minute. So if you're Magnus here, he wants to win this on the board. You can see that he, is trying to find the correct path forward. Maybe his rook will get in instead of the queen. But yeah, he is in the driver's seat. He's really not risking much. And maybe he'll make a collinear move like rook. Nope. Instead he trades the rooks. But it's a collinear move to try to trade and get another pass pawn. But ooh, his advantage is gone, but his lead in the clock is still maybe insurmountable.
Yeah. It's looking good for Magnus Carlsen. Let us know in the Twitch or YouTube chat who you're rooting for. Are you a Magnus Carlsen fan? Maybe a Bortnik fan? Hikaru fan? Let us know.
It's so.
Oh.
Oh, did it just drop the? No, you had the mate, back rank make.
Oh, that is
that's cute.
I was wondering, like,
Whoa.
what do you do with all that pressure? And Magnus just taught us, like, well, I'm gonna use the weakness of the Black King against Bortnik, but Bortnik, he's curling up to into a ball and attacking this pawn h6. I think Bortnik has to take it and hope that he can live to see the end of this, but his king is too weak at the moment.
All right, Magnus doing some sort of gesture. The bar is back
But
to
you always
balance.
have, with the queens on the board, you always have those kind of weird tactics, and suddenly you drop a piece or you leave yourself vulnerable to the.
Wait, whoa!
Oh.
Has he blundered?
Oh, he definitely blundered. He did not want to get the queens off, and not only because it threw away his position, but because now it's easier for Black to play. Bortnik is going to march his king out, and we have seen Bortnik win exactly like this a game ago.
Oh, wow, this is crazy. Massively better now for Bortnik, but he has 16 seconds left on his clock. Can he win it on the board?
I think he can. That knight was almost trapped, which is why Magnus brought the knight back out. And I think the problem is Magnus isn't great at dirty flagging. He wants to win the games like objectively, so he doesn't know how to just like always throw his pieces and just let the cards fall where they may.
Okay, this is going to be an intense finish to this game. Can Bortnik win this with 11 seconds on the clock? 10. Magnus fighting for his life in the game.
Oh, I think objectively there could be a draw by repetition, but will Magnus take it? I think he should try to flag Bortnik and not make the draw here.
Yeah.
And
Moving
look at that
to
red
7
clock.
out of 7 would be huge.
And here we go. Will Bortnik? Oh, Bortnik's going for these pawns.
Yeah.
I think Magnus has to push it here, but Bortnik has enough time. He's so fast. He gave up his knight. No.
Oh, and Magnus is winning again.
Yeah, Bortnik gave up his knight because he didn't realize how quickly the knight gets back, and here it's coming this way and stopping the passed pawn.
What
Oh,
a
wow.
game. Is Magnus now winning both on the clock and on the board?
And that's it. Oh my goodness, Bortnik. Just when he had it under control, he did not, and Magnus smiles and wins.
Wow, Magnus Carlsen. I don't know if he got lucky there or if it was simple class. He was winning on the board, he was winning on the clock, then he was losing on the board. Eventually, he wins both on the board and on the clock. Heartbreak for Bortnik, who, wow, was getting so close to a win against Magnus Carlsen and 7 out of 7, but it is Magnus Carlsen with his very long glass, which is also almost empty. So he's drinking a lot today, and he's on 7 out of 7. How would you describe this game, Robert?
Well, that was one where Magnus was in control, and I think at some point he tried to adjust himself to playing for the time. And as I said, he doesn't do well in that regard. He's not great at trying to punish someone strictly on the clock. Other players like Hikaru, they have no qualms about that. They will just win on time and feel 0% bad about it.
Oh, and look at Alexander Bortnik. Heartbreak for him. So close to a win against Magnus in 7 out of 7. Instead, it's a loss. But he is still on a good score, 6 out of 7. And we have Ali Reza Firouzja on 6.5. Meaning we're probably going to see Magnus versus Ali Reza in the next round.
Most likely. Firouzja versus Magnus, yeah.
Look at that. Yeah. Ali Reza Firouzja versus Magnus Carlsen. We are definitely going to follow that game. 2 of the top dogs in Title Tuesday. Magnus Carlsen has named Ali Reza Firouzja one of his fiercest rivals in the online blitz format. And here we have them up against each other. Who's the favorite, Robert?
Well, Ali Reza has the white pieces, and I think I'm going to go with Reza. I think that Magnus, he was a bit shaky in that game, and I think when it comes down to the time scramble, Ali Reza happens to be the favorite. And before we dive into the X's and O's here, I want to give a quick shout out because Eric Rosen is near the top of the standings. He's playing against Jan Krzysztof Duda, which means that Rosen himself must have like 6 out of 7, which is a phenomenal showing for him.
Fantastic. One of the top streamers as well, Eric Rosen. Yep, there he is on 6 points. Fabiano Caruana also on 6 points.
Nakamura also.
All right.
People are coming back from that hard loss, but Firouzja hasn't played very many bad games today. Magnus's 2 last games has been pretty shaky. So Magnus is on a kind of a shaky place now, but Firouzja is safe.
But Firouzja might be tired because he played a classical game of chess today.
Imagine.
Yeah, he must be really wiped. And I mean, he's focused, he's locked in, and right now it's just a normal looking position. But I definitely can imagine that Ali Reza, he's probably like, what time is it, by the way, in Samarkand right now?
So it's
Is it 3 hours before?
yeah, so it's 9:30 in the evening. He's been playing chess now for 6-7 hours, and he's towards the top of the standings in Title Tuesday now, fighting against Magnus Carlsen, slightly better on the eval bar. Clock has started to tick for Magnus Carlsen already, under 4 minutes on the clock. This is a big one, a big matchup in round 8. Only this one and 3 more rounds to go.
Again, we have a position with these isolated pawns in a Magnus game. And will it still come down to which pawn is weak and which is strong in a position like this?
It definitely will be at play, and right now we have an open board with a bishop pair for white, and black has these 2 knights. And so Alireza is taking a page out of Magnus's book. We know how much Magnus loves to maneuver around and just pose little problems here and there and then try to nurse that to a full point. But right now I would say that for Alireza, he has the sort of long-term advantage with the bishop pair, but look at Magnus' strike on the king side. He's saying, well, how long will this game go? If I can blast open your king, suddenly this could be really dangerous. And when you push pawns forward, they're actually easier to attack and easier to break open more lines.
So where is his knight going to go now? To h7 to force the h4 move with the pawn?
Looks very normal. Also helps make the black king feel safer. White may start throwing pawns up, but you actually couldn't get away with that, and that's why instead Alireza brought his knight into the center. This is messy. This game here, right here, is chances for both sides. You see that the EVO versus white is better, but the players are looking at this like, okay, where's the weakness? What can I exploit? If white ever pushes this pawn, in comes the knight. That's a juicy outpost for a black knight to jump into. So this really is a tense position.
You said that earlier, that against Firouzja, people tend to play a little less accurate, and Firouzja does that as well. Is that what we're seeing here?
I think that we very well may. I mean, the position is quieter than some of the others that Firouzja goes for. Like, he will just, right out of the gates, like, go for something a little bit offbeat, maybe even objectively dubious. Here, he's playing solid chess.
But we see in the bar wander a bit more than we usually do in the games of Magnus.
It's wobbly.
Yeah.
It's wobbly. And right now, Magnus down to 2 minutes, 50 seconds. You see the time advantage opening up for Alireza Firouzja, and that might mean that Magnus is looking for a tactical solution to positional issues. Knight, okay, he takes there. I was thinking that there might be some kind of check in the mix, but no, he gives up his rook for a knight and a pawn. That means objectively, by material value, white has 1 point of extra material, but that white king over here, that looks like it's in some danger. Watch out, that pawn's hanging. This is really a mixed bag.
But if he can find some safety moves, then I really like the white bishop here, because you have so much dominance down against the open line in at A8.
Yeah, this bishop stares all the way through.
Yeah, so it's like, but the 2 knights are kind of troublesome now.
Yeah, I like those knights. I mean, that's actually scary. This pawn is hanging, moving your king. It feels like you're walking to other checks. And LPDO, everyone, loose pieces drop off. That knight over here is not defended. And wow, a forcing move by Alireza. I wasn't actually looking in the center, but this is very instructive even for me. I'm telling myself something, that when someone's attacking you, you often want to strike in the center because you can't get tunnel vision. You can't focus on only one side of the board. And Alireza's given up a pawn in front of his king, and now he's just trying to say, my rook. I have an extra rook, 2 against 1. Yes, you have an extra knight, but what are you going to do? Because, excuse me, this knight's under attack, but this knight's also in some danger. Maybe black has to start stepping backwards.
You have a juicy c4 square for the knight, but where is it going from there?
That's a question that only Magnus Carlsen can answer. And right now he's down to 2 minutes. I'm not liking his clock. And whoa.
Is he?
the
What
other
about
way.
the knight?
Did he just give away this knight?
You can check on, yeah.
Uh-oh. He's now down a rook for a bunch of pawns. But how many pawns? So right now black has 6 pawns. White has 3. White's about to have 2. So 4 pawns for a rook. That's not a material imbalance you see regularly.
And then you win the d4 pawn as well, don't you think?
5 pawns for a rook.
What?
So mathematically, this is a balanced game.
It's just a draw. Let's all end it. Let's, call it, even. No, this is a big moment here for Alireza. I mean, queen to e1 comes to mind. You want to keep your king safe, but you can't just sit passively, because when that 5th pawn is captured. I mean, look at this. This is an army and then some. I'm going to put them in yellow because I'm still not sure if it's go or if they're enough compensation, but that's a ton of material for a rook.
Wow.
Yeah, and you're going to drop the d4 pawn as well, don't you? And then you have checks all around the king, so you just have to find a way through, but...
All right. Alireza is now down to 1 minute 43 seconds on the clock. He is equal to Magnus.
And maybe that's the right continuation of the game, is some kind of repetition where Magnus may have to, I don't want to call it bailing out, it's just objectively the right thing to do, where he may have to just keep making checks. But no, Magnus says, I'm going to bring another piece into the attack. Alireza says, okay, you do that. I'm going to go defend. I'm one move away from defending my king. And now that knight can go back, yes, d4 may fall at some point, but Alireza's king suddenly doesn't feel like it's in danger. And suddenly it could be the black king that's in danger when the white rook starts staring down.
This is intense. The two players on the top of the standings. Magnus with 7 points. Alireza with 6.5. If he wins this game, he will be in the lead after 8 rounds.
But this is how you should play chess, you know? You should always do what you think is going to get you the win. And I think that is what both players have played there. And it's a totally unbalanced position. And this is not going to end in a draw unless it's a repetition.
Yes,
I love that.
Unless it's the correct outcome of the game. No, they're not just going to agree for a draw. And this rook for Magnus, very active, attacking 2 pawns. For Alireza, he's holding on barely, everything defended for now, but he doesn't have activity. He also doesn't have time. Suddenly it's Magnus with a 30-second lead as Alireza dips down under a minute.
Did he just drop off the pawn there? Can it capture? Or no?
I think that Magnus just want to trade pieces. Like he's like, I'm going to leave everything on the board. At some point, Alireza may consider giving up his rook for this bishop. That way that you try to remove some of Black's stability. But right now, I'm most worried about the clock situation for both players. I think that this time difference is one where Magnus is on high alert.
This is just a crazy position. I've just forgot about the clocks. They are playing blitz.
Yeah. Both players now under 1 minute on the clock. They have no increment. Alireza Firouzja is known as the fastest player in the top of chess. Can Magnus Carlsen beat him? On the board, he is better on the eval bar.
Oh my goodness. 5 pawns for a rook. It's not something you see often. Is there a draw? It looks like Black has a draw now, and I think this is going to happen. It's the objective right thing to do for Magnus. He is down a rook. Oh, yeah. He plays on.
Oh, he's going to win. He's going to go for the win. Or he always have the repetition here.
Yeah, he has a repetition. And he's, whoa, trading queens. I don't think I've ever seen 5 pawns against a bare rook before.
Whoa!
This is what we've been training in chess clubs when we were young. You have a rook and then the opponent has 5 pawns and you're going to try to win it.
This should be a setting online. You can challenge like against 5 pawns like this, but I think it's bad for Magnus, and the reason why is that rooks can give checks, and checks are always harder to respond. You can't pre-move if you're being checked, at least not so easily. And Magnus now down to 22 seconds. Alireza is about to go and gobble the H-pawn, and one by one, it's like a game of Pac-Man right now. Alireza is going to try to take them all.
Do you think one player will lose on the clock here? Is that going to be the result here?
I think Magnus is going to lose on the board because he's losing the clock.
Okay. 15 seconds, 14 seconds for Magnus Carlsen on the clock.
King in. The king could have gone up, and then the rook would have helped defend against the other pawn. I think. It's not easy to say, but down go the pawns.
And there's a blunder from Magnus. Massively better for Alireza, and Magnus is ticking down. Under 10 seconds on the clock.
This is lost.
About to lose to Alireza Firouzja.
Oh, but those pawns are dangerous. I think Alireza has this check. That's the key. And then this pawn falls. Alireza Firouzja is winning this game.
Wow.
Wow, what a game. Alireza Firouzja takes down Magnus Carlsen in round 8. Struggling on the clock, Magnus, but also on the board. And Alireza Firouzja, no smile on his face, but he must be super happy. Beating Magnus Carlsen. He was on a perfect score heading into this round, but now Magnus Carlsen is still on 7 points together with a bunch of players. Alireza Firouzja takes the lead in Title Tuesday Game Week 2 after 8 rounds. 3 rounds to go. He's on the top with 7.5 points. Magnus Carlsen is not happy with what just happened. It seems like all games are rounding up. We can see Hikaru Nakamura has made a comeback. He is now on 7 points, fighting to win Title Tuesday Game Week 2. All right. I mean, for Magnus Carlsen there, was it, what happened?
Well, that happens when you really, really want to win.
Yeah.
You sometimes overpush your position. He should, objectively, probably have gone for the repetition, which Firouzja obviously wanted. But you really want to win, and I kind of admire that. But from an objective point of view, that was wrong.
Magnus Carlsen is still looking at the board. Does he regret not going for repetition here?
Yeah, unfortunately, admiration doesn't necessarily score you the points that you need, and I do respect it. I really do. I always love it when players are fighting to the bitter end, but Alireza is faster. It's something we talked about as soon as the pairings were announced, and he proved it. Like, he was just at a lightning pace, and rooks, they go all over the place. Pawns are slow-moving pieces, and you have to be sure, can I push there, or is it going to be chased down? Really difficult.
And in a flagging point of view, you always have the check with the rook, and then you kind of plan to pre-move the pawns or something, but then you have to move the king, and you lose half a second there and half a second there, and suddenly you're out of time.
All right, it's a loss for Magnus Carlsen after round 8. 3 rounds to go, you guys, in Title Tuesday Game Week 2. There's a little bit of a break now, but we're going to keep talking. We are loving this. This is the Premier League of chess.
Here we go.
Whew, a lot of action today. Players are losing on the board, players are losing on the clock, players are also winning and giving us some massive moves, some fantastic, brilliant chess as well. And again, we're going to look at an action replay from something we've seen so far today. I think it's the game between Magnus Carlsen and Alexander Bortnik that we saw in round 7. This was a dramatic one between the two players streaming here from the Oslo office.
Look at the clocks. Magnus was up a minute here, but then suddenly the bar went in the complete opposite direction. Magnus was winning earlier. He was much better, I should say. And then he tried to flag, but he doesn't like doing that. So he went against the grain. He did something he didn't want, and then suddenly he was struggling, and Bortnik was oh so close.
Massively better here with the black pieces. Alexander Bortnik against the world, #1. But look at those clocks ticking with only 10 seconds left here for Bortnik. It starts turning in Magnus's favor.
Yeah, you can see that Bortnik's trying to get those pawns, because if Magnus had 0 pawns remaining, the game would end in a draw. And look at the red, the clock. Bortnik is down on time. He really just wanted to take all of those last pawns with checks. You have to respond to them, and you can give a couple of them, or you can change direction as Magnus did in this game. And as we continue here, Bortnik was doing everything right, everything you could ask of him, until a point coming up where right here, that pawn push happens, and he takes it because he didn't have time to calculate, and the white knight was able to get just one pawn over here, and then go all the way back to the other side and stop the remaining pawn.
And eventually, Magnus Carlsen is able to win this game. It was up and down. It was a roller coaster, and it was eventually a heartbreak for Bortnik on the board, on the clock. He lost to Magnus Carlsen, who just had to laugh from the result there, getting that win. I mean, for Magnus now, last 2 games, Christopher, it's been a roller coaster.
It's been shaky. He hasn't played really good, but it's always 11 games in a row. It's hard to play good in all of them. So he's probably going to grab himself together and get the win in the next few games, I would guess. But something interesting with the last game is that this is a place where FIDE rules and online rules are different.
Oh, in what way?
Because if Magnus had a knight left and Bortnik would have been flagged, then you win in over-the-board rules. But on chess.com, it's a draw. So over the board and online is different in other time than in other perspectives, as differs than the time.
It's fantastic that we actually have an arbiter in the room who can give us all these regulations in 1 minute. Round 9 will start. We have round 9, 10, and 11 left in Title Tuesday Game Week 2, and Alireza Firouzja is on top of the standings. We're definitely not going to see the perfect 11 out of 11 today, but we do have a really, really tense finish here with some of the biggest names on top of the standings. Get ready, you guys. Game Week 2, round 9 is about to start.
He's winning. Wow. He's winning. He found it.
Wow.
What a shocking result here in round 2. He beats Hikaru Nakamura in round 2. The 15-year-old from Iran is in a great position against Magnus Carlsen, massively better on the bar.
I think his connect.
Probably.
Yeah.
There he is. Oh, yeah,
he's
you
back.
can see.
Oh, yeah, he's upset. You can see it.
Oh, that's heartbreak. Look at the anger. Oh, this is just massive frustration. Will we see one?
Oh, blunder!
Oh.
What's happening? Mate in 14.
He's gonna take this in 4 seconds. He's pre-moving like a king.
Oh, look at that fist pump. Bortnik is absolutely in form right now.
We have the Lovable logo on the final scores on those chessboards. Lovable, our partner for Title Tuesday, and there's been a lot of heartbreak today in Title Tuesday. Players winning on the board, losing with technical issues, losing on the clock, and the action is about to start again. We have Alireza Firouzja against Hikaru Nakamura. Magnus Carlsen plays the German Bluebaum. Some big matchups here, but it looks like we should follow Alireza against Hikaru Nakamura, who's made a comeback. He lost in round 2 against a low-rated player, but Hikaru has made a comeback now on 7 points and up against Alireza Firouzja in round 9. That's a huge one. Alireza Firouzja is on a roll. He's been playing chess for 7 hours today. A draw for him in the Grand Swiss. But here he is on fire in Title Tuesday, fighting for points on the Champions Chess Tour leaderboard that will eventually qualify players to the Esports World Cup next year. All right, the game has started. Let's jump into Alireza Firouzja against Hikaru Nakamura. Who's the favorite heading into this one, Robert?
The form we've seen, Alireza, I mean, I think that he's been on fire, but what's going Hikaru's way is he's had to win all of these last few rounds. So he's been a man on a mission, and well, he's won more Title Tuesdays than anybody.
Yeah.
So he knows exactly what it takes. And at the moment, I mean, we're looking at a position that's solid. I think that white has good control of the center because white essentially has an extra pawn in the center, two pawns here compared to just one for black. But black has an extra pawn, I'm putting that in air quotes, over on the queen side where you have this pawn and is not opposed by a white pawn. So we're essentially not having a symmetrical position. It's going to be a bit of a slow burn. And for Alireza, it seems like he's happy with that approach given the long day he's had.
It's lucky to get white against Nakamura, though.
True.
Because it's way harder to be black against such a class player.
It's true. Yeah, you typically want that first move advantage. In Blitz, it's just chaos, so sometimes it doesn't even matter. But yeah, you do get to dictate the course of the game. And right now for Alireza, I mean, he's playing well. We see Hikaru bopping his head. He's streaming. He's probably feeling a lot better now than he did after round 2. But there's a big question in these positions. Will Alireza strike? Will he push that pawn? You know, E4, best by test, Fischer said. He meant that on move 1, but it might also be best by test in these positions where you gain important space in the center of the board.
If it wasn't for the king safety, I would love to play E4 and F4 and just push all my pawns and win. That's what I do at the pub, but I don't know if it's working here, but it looks really tempting.
Do it.
To just get that massive, massive pawn center.
Yeah, I'm rooting for that now for sure. There are all the pawns here. That'll be the 5th white pawn on Alireza's own 4th rank, and you're gaining space by making moves like that. Of course, the downside, you move a pawn, you leave some squares behind. There could be some vulnerability there, and maybe black will say, I'll take one out of your book and strive for an initiative, but I think Alireza can comfortably start pushing pawns.
But I would say it's way worse pushing the pawns if black would have had the white squared bishop. Now he's just weak on the white squares, and he doesn't have any ins on the white squares except for the queen, so it's not that dangerous to push the f-pawn.
It's true. And I like what Alireza just did. He did a fancy little rook lift where he brought his rook up from the corner to put pressure. It's a semi-open file. That rook is staring into black's camp. That pawn is a target, a long-term target, in fact, and black is doing the same. Hey, you're going to attack my pawn, I'll attack yours. And all of Hikaru's firepower is staring right there in the center. Will he go for the idea and maybe start pushing these pawns? It's not an easy decision for Alireza, and now he's down 40 seconds.
Yeah, and he's playing against one of the best players with a low time in the world, Nakamura. So this is going to be tense all to the end.
Oh, I love it. Better on the bar. Alireza Firouzja on 7.5 points, playing against Hikaru Nakamura, streaming. Of course, he is the Title Tuesday superstar. And we actually see his stream, and he's looking happy right now. Hikaru, he has a lot of time on his clock. It's ticking down for Alireza.
In a tournament like this, when you're streaming, don't you kind of play a little bit less correct because you're spending some energy talking instead of just focusing everything on what's on the board?
Normally, I would say yes, but there's no part of Hikaru that's a normal chess player. He's a star. He's an absolute beast. He's incredibly difficult to contain. So I think for Hikaru, like, he's just feeling the vibes. He's dancing to maybe even not real music. It might just be in his head, but his chess pieces, they form a symphony, and they're right now very harmonious. You see like these rooks staring in the center, the bishop also putting pressure. And I think the onus is on Alireza Firouzja to figure out what to do, because Black is making these little waiting moves, thinking, when am I going to strike, right? Like, he's just kind of on his hind legs, ready to pounce. And for Alireza, it's like, well, okay, I'm defending, but when can I attack myself?
Yeah, it's so much potential in the position, and whoever pounces first has to make sure they are pouncing right.
Yeah, because you can leap, and we see that. I saw Hikaru on a stream analyzing this move, but sometimes you throw out a quick pawn move and you don't exactly find yourself thrilled with the outcome. But that's just a good move. It helps the king gain some space off the first rank, so if there's ever some back rank issues, no longer. And maybe you can start chiseling. Maybe you could throw this one and even one further if Black ever has any dreams of an attack. But, well, that's gone out the window. Alireza says, you play your Harry the H-pawn, and I do the same. But it's a minute difference, Kaya. I mean, Hikaru is so much faster.
But you really want to have the pawns on the white squares in the end when you have the dark squares bishop. So they are also fighting for control on the light squares here.
Very true. I keep looking at the clock because Alireza, I mean, he continues to be down approximately a minute, and the decisions are not getting easier. If he finds a way to just liquidate, to blow everything up in the center with a move like pawn to d5, I think that I would advocate for that. But look at how many black pieces are covering that square. Like, I can't even keep count. That's 4, just all covering that square. And I got like a little mustard salad in there. Like, I just don't know how to keep track.
But you need to make sure that the pawn move you make is the right one, because if it's not, then your whole pawn structure is in chaos, and you might be lost. And another waiting move.
He's shuffling, and he wants to draw. But Hikaru, he should seize the moment here. And what I mean, everybody, is not just throwing pieces forward and trying to play for a win in a haphazard way. No, look at this little move. Now this pawn, the queen moved up. Now it threatens this pawn over here. It can be captured, but then this bishop was captured. There's a lot of tactical play here. So Hikaru's going to slow down, and Alireza did the right thing with his latest move. He wants to throw all the pieces off the board because then his remaining choices become a lot easier, and that means that his time deficit may not be as consequential as it currently looks.
It's trouble on the clock for Alireza Firouzja. He is about to tick under 1 clock. Does that stress him out?
I think he shines. He has this history with Hikaru in the Bullet Chess Championship where, I mean, they've had some really big fights, and Alireza has won that tournament. So I think for Alireza, like, look at him right now. He doesn't look like someone who's stressed. He looks like his eyes might be strained because he's been looking at chess so much today.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look like somebody who's actually stressed.
The less time you have on the clock, the more you have to rely on just your instinct. And both of these players' instincts are pretty good, though. So this is very interesting.
Yeah. But who do you think? Will we see a winner in the game? Will we see a draw? What do you guys think right now?
I think Nakamura is going to take it.
Okay.
Because the clock.
I think Hikaru's made a couple of mistakes in the latest moves. And the reason I'm saying that is the white king looks tucked away, and the black king, it's on an open diagonal. And for the moment, at least, white's rook here is much more active than black's rook. So if the pawns get changed, now the second rook gets active. So I do think Hikaru's got great chances because he's got the lead on the clock. But I feel like things have been a bit shaky from the last few turns. And now that I say that, they might just trade all the pieces. And we'll see if Hikaru has the dirty flag.
This is the top game right now, you guys. Alireza Firouzja in the lead after 8 rounds with 7.5 points. Hikaru on 7 together with Magnus and some other players.
Nakamura needs to be precise, though. It's a pawn down in a rook endgame can be lost.
He's down a pawn right here, and look at Alireza says, okay, that pawn was surrounded in the center. I'm going to go after the pawn you just left behind. So this is dangerous territory, and Alireza is the faster player. So now all of a sudden I'm looking at the time difference. It's not that big. I think that Alireza has great chances.
Ooh, both players taking down to 30 seconds on the clock.
Great move there. If the king takes what looks like a free pawn, the rook gives a check both to the king and that lonely pawn over here. And once that first pawn falls, the best friend next to it also drops. And look at what Hikaru's just done. He's going to go back and forth the best he can. And Alireza trying to bring his own king in, but the black king, it gets back in time. This objectively is a draw. But if Alireza can find a way, there's not enough pieces left. It's a draw. Pieces are gone.
Okay, that feels like the fair result between these two monsters in online blitz. Alireza Firouzja and Hikaru Nakamura play a draw, and look at Andrei Esipenko lying down. That's Title Tuesday for you. Playing from his hotel room in Samarkand. He is also playing Grand Swiss. Hikaru Nakamura is, of course, streaming a draw here against Alireza Firouzja. Alireza will now be on 8 points. Will anyone join him? Magnus Carlsen has won his game here in round 9, meaning he's also on 8 points together with Jan Krzysztof Duda. All right, Duda, the Polish star.
So that's 3 players, and then Kariana might join on 7.5.
Yeah, we have Hikaru on 7.5 together with a couple other players. Will Fabiano join him? It's looking good for Fabi.
I really like that you see a lot of the rather unknown players like Drozdski and Moroni that are not usually up there, but in Title Tuesday anything can happen. If you have a lot of good games, then you can suddenly be up there and fight against the world's best players. That's amazing to see.
I agree. Round 9 is rounding up, and we're going to head into round 10. Remember, 11 rounds, and then we decide the winner. It's looking good now for Duda, Firouzja, and Magnus. Probably we're going to see
Magnus versus Duda, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Or Alireza versus Jan Krzysztof.
Yeah, Duda has to play one of these two monsters up at the top, and he's kind of been slept on in this event. Like Duda, we mentioned him a little bit here and there, but now he's at the top and he's unavoidable.
Yeah.
We have Magnus Carlsen versus Jan Krzysztof Duda in round 10. We're going to follow that game. Magnus Carlsen, he does not love to face Jan Krzysztof Duda. Duda has a great score against Magnus.
Online?
Yeah.
Yeah. Online, he has, but over the board, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
That is so interesting.
Magnus Carlsen and Jan Krzysztof Duda is up against each other in round 10, and it's starting. Okay, goes back to back here in Title Tuesday. We only have this round and one more round left before we have the winner in Title Tuesday Game Week 2 in the autumn split. Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces, and the game has started.
No, it's going to be so expensive to drop some points.
Exactly.
You can't afford a draw now.
Yeah,
no.
but I don't think I've ever seen Duda wear glasses before.
Oh, that's new.
Yeah, that feels like a new look and respect. It's a long time glasses where I need them, and if his eyesight's getting better, maybe his chess will accompany that. But Duda is a monster. He famously beat Magnus over the board to end Magnus's unbeaten streak. And we know what Magnus says, like revenge isn't just beating someone once. He wants to beat them again and again and again. Yeah. So this game right here, we see that it's starting in a bit of a closed position. Both players have bishops that are trying to stare at the enemy king, but I think they can see that coming, and so that's why we see some regrouping. It's a maneuvering game, and I feel like for Magnus, the key in a position like this is to keep pace on the clock, because he does get a bit more nervous when the time gets lower. We saw against Bortnik, right? Like he was up a minute, but still he was floundering because he doesn't know when to play the board versus the clock. And I think for Duda, I haven't seen so many of his games today, but he's clearly doing very well.
Yeah. Also a young player that is very good in online blitz formats, and it's looking very good for him also without the increment. 5 minutes on the clock for both players, no increment whatsoever.
Duda is on a roll. He beat Liam Le in the last round. So he's a previous world blitz champion, Liam Le, right? So that's not a small time player to beat.
Exactly.
Not at all. And I feel like I'm looking at a game of Minesweeper in the center here because I don't know like where it's going to detonate right here. All those pawns are staring at each other. I mean, X kind of marks the spot, but it just causes confusion because it's never easy. Like if you take this pawn for white, then will black say, okay, I'll grab this one with my knight. You need to calculate these positions, and you see that Magnus, he's working hard here, and there are also ideas where when white takes this pawn, the bishop could take the knight, but it's not so bad for black, even though the pawns get doubled. So Magnus, you can see that he's not sweating, but he's working hard, calculating, because he wants to find the correct path forward, and the bar went to the center. It's saying that black is doing okay. Duda may have played a very nice opening thus far, but there's still a lot of life left here.
But neither Duda nor Magnus plays the Grand Swiss are now. So maybe they are a little bit more rested than Firouzja and Magsudo and all the other cannons that are playing the Grand Swiss.
It's funny because sometimes you're more rested, other times you're out of practice. I never know what people think about these things, but right now I think we are seeing a bunch of trades in the center, and if this pawn captures, the rook can capture back, and all these pieces are coming off. White, ooh! Now that's a clever move. Bishop moves out here, pinning the knight. Typically this move would be the intermezzo. It's giving a check to the white king, but after this check, the queen sacrifices itself to protect the bishop, and yes, I see that this bishop can take it, but then the white bishop takes the black queen, and it's pandemonium.
It's so cute.
Yeah, I like it. It's cute. That's not the word I thought about, but it's cute. I like it.
Definitely, and what a way to develop your last piece.
Yeah, with a bang, right? And so the knight goes back, does Duda's piece. He's saying, I'll just reinforce this center, and that was a great decision. And the reason why I like it so much is that it didn't take him that much time. And he could have sat calculating for another 30 seconds, another minute about this move, which ultimately didn't work. And I'm not saying always trust Magnus. He's the best player in the world. That's not a question of his strength. But you have to play the board. You cannot play the opponent. And I think Duda did the right thing. He just calculated quickly. He found a nice defensive retreating move to reinforce this knight on e5. And we're just getting more trades then.
That's typical when you're in a decent shape. You find the moves you want to play rather quickly, and then you just do it and just go with your gut. And that's so important in Blitz when you only have five minutes. And Magnus spent 1 minute on this move.
Yeah, look at this huge lead on the clock for Duda. I mean, if you're wow, okay. The queen comes out to put another attacker on this knight, which is pinned, which can give a discovery, but then the queen sacrifices itself. So there are so many tactics. And
F7. Oh, it's juicy.
Yeah, you see that? This pawn here is also under attack. Like, oh my goodness, there's so much to calculate. But I don't even know if this is under attack, because then black will sacrifice the queen for 3 minor pieces, and it's real chaotic. And Duda's time, it's ticking because he knows that this is a critical moment.
Ticking down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Alireza Firouzja is the third player on 8 points, and he is right now playing against Rasmus Wanne. He is much better with the black pieces, Alireza Firouzja, meaning you really want to win this game. Both Magnus and Duda wants to get the full point.
They need to keep pace, especially, I mean, Duda hasn't played Alireza, so that would be the last round pairing if they're both able to score a win. And queen over, saying, let's trade those things off the board. And if white makes the mistake of trading, the black knight would have saved itself. So now we've traded. White is up a pawn, but black is having great play. And I want to note, everyone, that this pawn over here, that's a target. If that rook leaves the starting square, that flank pawn will be captured, and flank pawns are very dangerous in endgames, everyone. When there are many pieces on the board, you want that extra pawn in the center, but when pieces get traded, you often want the flank pawn to distract the enemy forces.
The far pawn wins the game, as we say in Norwegian.
I like it. Yeah. No, it usually does, except right now, Magnus is probably like, well, I have an extra pawn, so is your far pawn going to be good enough, or is my central one going to do the trick? It's a really difficult position to evaluate, and that's why the bar is right down the middle.
Yeah.
And just a correction, it is Fredrik Svanne that Alireza is playing, not his brother Rasmus Svanne. Still massively better on the bar, Alireza Firouzja with the black pieces. Magnus and Duda fighting for a win in this game. Right now, the bar is saying this is a draw.
But Magnus's body language says, uh-oh. He
yeah.
He kind of put his hand out, and the bar it swung in Duda's favor. He has the pair of bishops, and there is a weakness, a static weakness that's not going anywhere. And this other bishop slicing across the board. Oh, you got to be very careful. That knight was hanging, and now Magnus's pawn structure is ruined.
And Duda still have the bishop, which when a couple of more pawns drop off the board, it's going to be better.
Yes, this is a static weakness, and you see Magnus trying to trade off some pawns because then he can push his pawns into dark squares, and that way the pawns can't be attacked. But his pawns are a little bit weaker. Rook slides over, does Duda's rook. There could be some problems here. I mean, Duda's doing all the right things, especially considering both players are about to hit that time trouble stage.
Yeah. Oh.
Apparently a mistake by Magnus. Oh, but a mistake right back by Duda. Maybe he had to give a check first or bring his rook in. This pawn here, that might be the one that Duda is aiming to go after, rerouting his bishop to the long diagonal. But Magnus doing the right thing as well. He's saying, my knight needs to improve. Let's get that pony centralized. And that's going to become a stallion on d4. That's a lovely square for it, protected by a pawn.
Less than a minute for Duda. Now Magnus also ticking under the minute on the clock. Tense game.
Magnus doesn't manage to put his pawns on dark squares.
Oh, is that rook trapped? No way. No, he gets out just in time with this move. Or does he? You can get some weird position where maybe you barely get that rook out. But I'm looking at the clock right now. Duda is down almost 15 seconds. He's also down a pawn.
Is Magnus going to try to flag this time, or...
But this is natural flagging because he's better.
Yeah.
Like he can just make the good moves and press. The other was like, let me just try to kind of play bogus chess. This is just make good moves, slowly make progress, maybe push a pawn here. Maybe think about, does your knight need to redeploy somewhere? Eventually the knight could try to get in, so once you unpin it. So I think Magnus is doing the right thing, but Duda is very fast himself.
Alireza Fruja is suddenly struggling in his game. The other player on 8 points. What will happen here? Will we see flagging between Magnus and Duda? So little time on the clock now.
I think we will. This objectively, what we are seeing with the bishop is giving itself up for a pawn, that is equal. That's a theoretical draw, but not when you're down to your final 10 seconds.
And here the clock goes red for Jan Christoph Duda. 7, 6, 5. Will he be flagged? Will Magnus Carlsen take the full point on the clock?
So hard to defend this.
Oh, there must be some lagging here.
Yeah, no, the moves are coming in. It's a rook and knight versus rook situation, and it looks like Duda's doing his best, but he doesn't have time.
He should have around 10 seconds left on the clock. I'm also paying attention in the take app.
And he's doing everything right, objectively speaking. But for Duda, the clock has always been a problem.
All right, we are not getting moves here in on the board. I can tell you what I'm seeing in the take app. It's a balanced position, clock's ticking down, and eventually Jan Christoph Duda has lost on time to Magnus Carlsen. We see both clocks being red, and eventually it is a win for Magnus on the clock. Was it a draw on the board?
It was. Theoretical draw, which means that by all the optimal moves, the game would conclude the draw. If Duda had that increment, if he had 1 second added for every single move played, he would have made the draw, but also Magnus would have played differently. So it's always that hypothetical, you could have done this, I should have done that. I mean, Magnus played quickly and played well. And
it looks like Alireza Fruja has also won his game, meaning we have 2 players on 9 points. Both Magnus smiling in his streaming room. He's playing some really good chess today, but it's also been a lot of nerves. Trouble on the clock, winning a big game here against Jan Christoph Duda. And look at that, Alireza Fruja did get his win against Fredrik Svane. Oh, look at that! We have Magnus Hikaru in round 11. The final round is coming up, you guys, and it's gonna be the big guns. Magnus Carlsen takes on Hikaru Nakamura to win Title Tuesday, Game Week 2. Hikaru Nakamura on 8 points heading into this round. And we do have 2 players, Magnus and Alireza, on 9 points. Alireza Fruja will play the second streamer here in Oslo, Alexander Bortnik. 2 fantastic games, but we will, of course, follow Magnus versus his big online rival, Hikaru Nakamura, the 2 players highest ranked in the world. World number 1 Magnus against world number 2 Hikaru Nakamura. Who do you hold as a favorite, Robert?
I think Magnus, the way he's been playing, I think he has renewed confidence after that game, and we could see both players are streaming their thoughts, so you should listen to them, and they always post their videos as well. But right now we have a calm setup from Magnus, and you know what he's doing is that Hikaru needs to beat Magnus to win the tournament. So you can use the threat of a draw as a psychological ploy.
Ooh.
It's like, you really want this even position, or are you going to be the person to mix things up? Right now, White is just doing nothing major, just chilling. It's a double knight against the bishop situation, and White does have good control of the center, stopping any breaks, but this is a quiet game.
Okay, quiet game, but it will be drama, you guys. This is round 11, the final round for today. Magnus Carlsen is in the lead, shared with Alireza Firouzja. Hikaru Nakamura is 1 point behind them, fighting here to beat Magnus and maybe win game week 2.
And Nakamura needs to win this
Yep.
to grab some points. 1 point with a 9th or 10th place is probably not going to get you into the finals. So he needs to play for a win to get as much Grand Chess Tour points as possible.
And I'm enjoying having Hikaru stream there because I can see his exact thoughts. And his thoughts mirrored my own, where he's like, I need to get that center moving. I can't just be cramped. I mean, look at Black's position. What are these pieces doing? They're all just like staring into this one white knight, which is an amazing piece in the center. So Hikaru plays f6, but I was wondering if there are going to be some issues in front of the Black King. And if Hikaru wants to win the event, he has to play risky chess. But look at Magnus. He's like, oh, there's got to be something here. Should I sacrifice the bishop first? Should I bring the queen in? There are all sorts of ideas here. The Greek gift type of stuff with his knight ends up planted right here on g6 in front of the king. It's really some nasty stuff, and Hikaru better be sure that he can
Bring the rook up fast as well. It's hard to play things like that against world greatest players, but it's so tempting to sack on h7.
But this is what I enjoy, is Magnus decided to take the bishop instead of getting all wild, and the bar says, yeah, that was best. So I was so tempted, in part because the bar was jumping. Oh, you got to go for a checkmate, you got to do all this. Instead, Magnus can make a move like this, double attack. There's potential here, and Hikaru will have to, I think, in order to save his pawns, play here, but now he's got no control. So what Magnus has done is he hasn't won material, but he said, oh, that central break you talked about? Sorry, absolutely not. White has the clamp down in the center. That's a horrendous backwards pawn. This is strategic chess. This is Magnus Carlsen, and this is him at his best.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's some sort of sacrifice on f5 hanging in the air as well. Sometime the rook in the end is going to be pretty vulnerable.
But you can never count out Hikaru Nakamura in this format, in any kind of format in chess. Give your love to the player you're rooting for in our chats. Are you rooting for Magnus in this game, or Hikaru? Or maybe you're hoping Alireza Firouzja will win Title Tuesday Game Week 2. Let's hear it. Magnus is about to tick under 3 minutes on the clock. This is heating up.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this game here where Black is cramped, but Hikaru, he's doing that thing he does. He knows how to wriggle free. He's so good at the counter. Like, just when it looks like he is sitting in the corner, he's in timeout, none of his pieces are doing anything, he's like, no, it's my playtime. And you see that first he brought his knight around. Now he parks his bishop back on the starting square to defend, perhaps. The rook can slide at some point to attack the white queen. Magnus' position is much better. He just has full control. But after a move like a pawn push, oh my goodness, it's a rook trap. That is
so nice. Also, he prepared with just a simple move, king h1.
Yes.
That was pretty amazing with so little time on the clock.
He wants this rook to be entombed because of Black. It's like a smothered checkmate for the rook.
Yeah.
Magnus is much better on the bar. In Alireza Firouzja's game against Bortnik, the bar is saying balanced. Alireza on the same score as Magnus heading into this final round of game week.
You can't just take the pawn because then you have checkmate.
Yep, that would end the game as quickly as possible. So this pawn can't be captured. Maybe Hikaru has to start moving his rook away, but he does just that. But it's awkward territory for his pieces. But again, Hikaru, he might make a move like pawn push, and when this one goes, the rook will be sidelined. It's offside, but we know how Hikaru, eventually this knight wants to work its magic into the center, and he's going to try to drum up counterplay. But then I look at the clock, and it's Magnus up 50 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's not just the board, it's the time as well.
Massively better on the bar and better on the clock. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left for Magnus. Hikaru Nakamura is looking frustrated on his stream, struggling in this game against Magnus, fighting to win game week 2.
This is fascinating.
Yeah, look at Hikaru. He's just like, he's trying to be a turtle now. He's in a shell.
And the knight on f3 is so good placed, well, defending the h2 square as well. And now everything just flows forwards in attacking capacity.
I wonder if it makes sense. Normally, we don't like to give up 2 minor pieces for a rook, but you get a pawn in addition to the rook, and then at the end, you also get this pawn. So white will have all these. There we go.
Oh.
Yeah, Magnus is going just for that. He's saying, I will just liquidate because I'm going to have a rook and 3 pawns for a knight and a bishop. So that's 8 points versus 6.
And in Blitz, this is also so clever because you can just pre-move all moves here.
Yes, he can. I don't know why he isn't. Maybe he... Oh, there they go. The moves are coming in quick. He does take that pawn. So 3 pawns and a rook for a knight and bishop. There's almost queen takes bishop and pawn. I'm not sure if that works, but that's something you always have to look out for if you're Hikaru.
Ooh.
Like maybe right now. Okay, it doesn't go for it, but that would have been a cool queen sack.
Yeah. Massively better for Magnus Carlsen. Clock's ticking for Hikaru Nakamura. It's looking difficult for him, but we have seen all the action happening today when the clocks have been under 1 minute. Can Hikaru turn this around?
Do you want me to answer honestly?
Yeah, please do.
No,
Yeah, okay.
I think he knows that this is over right now.
So white can just push all the pawns and win on the queen side.
Push all of them. The queen trade is not going to help black's cause at all.
Oh, yeah.
Just try to get those queens off to get your pass pawn even 1 step closer to the other side, and then you still have all these other pawns.
It's a little bit scary, though, with queen h4. I would be scared of a move like that. But maybe there's just nothing because you can take the bishop. The bishop is hanging.
No, but it's a good point that if the bishop weren't hanging, suddenly that's exactly what Hikaru would need. But Magnus, he spent some time. He understands there is a check down here, so Hikaru's trying to get tricky over here, but that's maybe just 1 check. Maybe you can actually take this bishop and get away with it.
Alireza Firouzja is in massive trouble against Alexander Bortnik. Bortnik massively better on the eval bar. Magnus Carlsen could be on his way to the win in Title Tuesday Game Week 2.
Wow, that's great news for Magnus because even if he draws this game, that means that Bortnik beats Alireza, then he still will take first place.
Yep.
I mean, these players are focused on their own game. They don't have enough time to stare at the other contests. But for Magnus, that's obviously good news. And for Hikaru, he always had to win this game, and now he is half the time of his opponent and kind of like half the pieces.
Magnus really playing some good chess today. He's been focused, he's been in control most of the time. There's also been some drama for Magnus.
But you kind of saw him find his form later, which is really good. If he can, there he goes.
We have it. Magnus Carlsen takes the win against his biggest rival, Hikaru Nakamura. That takes Magnus to the top of the standings. After those 11 rounds, he is on 10 points, a massive, massive score. What will happen in this one? If Alireza wins, then it's a fight for first place between them. But what are we looking at, Robert?
I think we're looking at destruction, that Alireza's king is out in the open. Wow! Oh my goodness, Bortnik sacks the rook because checkmate is next. That's unstoppable, that's forced, and that's game over.
That is also cute.
I like the word cute. Oh, look at the celebration from Alexander Bortnik in the Dave Cave here in Oslo. He wins against superstar Alireza Firouzja. Great, great win for Alexander Bortnik, taking him to 9 points. These are the 2 players sitting in the streaming rooms next to each other, finishing in style, and Magnus Carlsen wins Title Tuesday Game Week 2. And Bortnik finishes in second place with 9 points. Still some games finishing up, but it looks like he's actually going to take second place when tie breaks have been decided.
Wow, and he earned it by beating Firouzja, who was tied with Magnus for first place. I mean, what an ending, too. Sacking the rook for mate.
Can you believe it? The 2 players here in the streaming rooms take the 2 first spots in Title Tuesday. It must be luck. You guys, top players, come here to Oslo, stream from here. It's probably a good idea. Magnus looks so happy taking the win in Title Tuesday Game Week 2. he wants to show off in this format now with the new time control of 5+0. How impressed have you been with Magnus today, Robert?
You know, I'm really impressed because there were certain rounds where I felt like he wasn't at his best, including against the person streaming the next door over. And I think Magnus just shook his hand. I think that's what just happened to Dave Cave.
Isn't that fantastic? Alexander Bortnik shaking the hand of Magnus Carlsen first and second place, and celebrations from Alexander Bortnik. The Ukrainian Grandmaster takes second place in Title Tuesday, and Magnus Carlsen, huge smile on his face. What do you think about Magnus today, Christopher?
That was impressive. Even when he's playing quite shaky, he manages to squeeze out a lot of wins, which is very good. And then the lucky disconnect win, of course. But this was very good from both Magnus and Bortnik, I think.
Fantastic. And I love seeing their reaction. This actually means something. Both of them just so happy. And the score that Magnus finishes on, 10 out of 11. I mean, 11 out of 11 happens sometimes in Title Tuesday, but extremely rare. 10 out of 11, that's extreme.
Yeah, powerhouse performance.
Yeah.
And think about who he beat along the way. He just defeated Hikaru Nakamura, his biggest rival, in that final game. So it wasn't perfect, but 10 out of 11, that's pretty close to perfection on the scoreboard, and he had a well-earned first-place finish.
Amazing stuff. We're going to try to get both of these players into the studio to talk to them. It's so cool to see how happy they are. Magnus Carlsen finishes in first place with 10 points. In second place, we have Alexander Bortnik on 9 points. The same as Alireza Firouzja, also 9 points. Remember, Alireza also played in the Grand Swiss today. He's been playing chess for almost 8 hours, and he finishes in third place with 9 points. Same as Drozdowski, the Polish guy, and Liemle, always a powerhouse in blitz chess. Jan Krzysztof Duda ends up with 8.5 points. And Hikaru Nakamura, again, outside top 10 to score points on the CCT leaderboard. It's not been a good start for Hikaru so far in this new Title Tuesday format.
It goes to show how difficult the field is. And the Grand Swiss shows it, Title Tuesday show it, that when there are all these grandmasters who may not have a classical rating that starts at 2.7 or 2.8, but they can show up. And not just the grandmasters. Wietek? How can we forget about Wietek in the second game against Hikaru? Winning with the black pieces, that was a big highlight probably of his entire chess career.
Yeah.
So really great stuff from a lot of different performers. And we actually see like a number of Polish flags here. So we got a worldwide occasion, an international flair to this event, and a lot of great performances.
Yeah. And we can see them taking off their headset, meaning they are making their way towards the studio to talk to us. It's going to be two happy guys joining us here in the Take studio. What a day. What would you say has been the highlight for you today, Robert?
The highlight, wow.
It's hard to remember, right? 11 rounds of so much drama.
I think we just had some really just awesome chess. Like, I know the time was short, but we just had some really great moments, like where players are playing super well. I think we had upsets. I mean, it stinks for the player who's losing, but you saw the smile on Wietek's face.
Yeah.
Like, he was just so jubilant. Like, I never root for or against anybody, but just to see that kind of expression might be a dream come true. And the flip side, the disappointment of Sina Movahed, who internet went out and lost that game. Massive
heartbreak. He was in a winning position against Magnus. I can see the two players making their way towards us here in the studio. I'm going to get the microphone ready for them. This is going to be cool to talk to them. We're actually going to get them in together, you guys. Wow. Two players on fire. Super happy. For you, Robert, commentating with this new format, a lot of players have made their opinions about 5+0, completely new format, Title Tuesday. What do you think about it after now commentating 11 rounds of it?
I definitely think it's better as a commentator.
Yeah?
It's like very dramatic, and also there's a fixed schedule, so that's helpful. But I also think that people flag in 3+1 anyway. So like some of the elements, like Blitz is chaotic by nature, so I think that it's going to remain that way, and the difference between the time controls is kind of moot in some ways to me.
Yeah. They're joining us. The winner of Title Tuesday, Game Week 2, Magnus Carlsen. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And second place, Alexander Bortnik. You guys have to share microphones if you can hold it between you guys. All right, I'm going to ask you first, Magnus. What was this experience like with so many roller coaster games and such a huge performance?
I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, but I had a big nap from like 3 till 4 today, so
Nice.
that helped me get ready a little bit. And then, of course, the brilliant team here at Take had ensured that the air quality was better today.
I'm so relieved.
So I had nothing to blame but myself when things weren't going. But I thought there were a lot of really, really fun games. Today, this week I was a bit lucky. Other weeks maybe I'm not. But overall, I'm happy with the experience. Love playing without increment, of course.
Let's talk about the game. We have replay of the game between the two of you, the final sort of moments here. I mean, if you keep the microphone in between you guys, just take us through what's happening here from both of your perspectives.
I think Magnus just was outplaying me during the game until the moment when he just blundered. I don't know, pawn on h6 probably. Or you would think it's still good.
First I blundered, but this always happens if the game goes long enough. Then I blunder the pawn on h6. Then I blundered. And here, by the way, like knight d3.
I wanted to play knight d3, but you could take on f6.
Yeah, I could take on f6. Yeah.
That's what I was stuck in actually in there. I was sure I can take.
But now it's very hard not to get flagged. Yeah.
Yeah, so I tried to actually escape already. I understand I can't win no time. So I tried to take one of pawns with my knight, sacrifice the knight, and probably I could actually survive if I push g pawn first.
Yeah.
g3 and then a. I had like 5.5 on my clock, but if I had get some lucky to trade last pawn to maybe a draw, but...
What are you playing for at this point, Magnus? Are you playing for the win on the clock?
Not here.
I think I think like right before that it's pretty much I was worried a little bit at some point, but after that it's pretty much a free roll. Like I'm obviously losing on the board, but I'm not the kind of losing where it's going to be decided. So like really, if I do something crazy, maybe he can win the game. But realistically, what he can hope for is to trade all the pawns and make a draw. But I think that's part of the game, right? What we have now, it's with no increment, it's really cutthroat. So yeah, I mean, he did a great job defending a difficult position and outplaying me, which he does incredibly well with little time. But then when it comes to flagging, like it's sometimes you just don't have enough time.
What does a win like that feel like?
It feels good. What can I say? I think in such a tournament you will inevitably get games that are not so smooth, not so easy when you play the best blitz players in the world. So you try and use every trick you have, and embrace the chaos.
Yeah. And Alexander, on the other hand, what is it like to lose a game like that, especially when you get quite close against the best player in the world?
That's very upset.
Yeah.
I was starting tilted immediately. Not that hard as I'm usually doing my streams. I know here need to be a little bit more chill. But yeah, I was tilted. I was thinking next round actually about the previous game, how could I escape? So I lost 2 in a row after that, but hopefully, just 1-3 rest and finish second, which I very surprised actually. I have highest tie break. Usually it's opposite of that. And congratulations, Magnus, by the way, who's won. And I'm happy with my result.
Yeah. You score some big points here on the CCT leaderboards. It's all about qualifying for Esports World Cup. So for you, Alexander, Title Tuesday and Champions Chess Tour and qualification for Esports World Cup, how important and how much emphasis will you put on that?
Oh, it's very important. I never actually skip any of Title Tuesday during the year. I just try to play all of them. Now we have less of them, but more important, I think. And so I will try to, manage my time is better during the game and clock and try not to flag. And I'm so excited just to play. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear it. Now, I heard rumors that you guys also played some Mario Kart. Did you have time before it started?
No, sadly, due to my
Nap.
Well, my my nap and my constant tardiness. We didn't have time for that, but maybe we'll have, because Asbjørn has been talking about the new Switch 2 now for a few weeks, so
exactly.
Maybe we'll have time.
DJ Asbjørn.
I also got things to get home to, so we'll see.
All right, I'm gonna ask you guys a final question. For you, what's the plans going forwards now, Alexander? Title Tuesday.
Title Tuesday. Oh, actually, I'm gonna play today one more tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's after party.
The after party is happening too.
Oh my god, I forget it. Yeah, so it's not over for me today. So.
Another big tournament is also happening around this time. Grand Swiss, of course, a bunch of players. Ali Reza Frousha, who ends up in third place today, fighting for candidate spot in that. Have you been watching that, Magnus? What have you been thinking about? I mean, it's been quite entertaining so far.
Yeah, it's super entertaining and quite unpredictable as well. You saw in the first 2-3 rounds that a lot of the top guns were at the top, and now they're not anymore. Not all of them, but I think Arjun's looks really good so far. Okay. But we'll see. It will be very exciting to follow for sure.
Yeah.
Which of the young guys has most impressed you of the the ones that have kind of risen to the top?
Well, Erdomus is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, at almost unprecedented levels at that age. Yeah, I mean, he's clearly impressed me the most from the very young, kind of not established players.
Someone else playing a lot of classical chess these days, Hikaru Nakamura, on his sort of chase to get all the games he needs to get the rating spot for the candidates. He's also getting closer to you on the ratings. Does that make you nervous?
Not really, but I kind of admire the way he's going about it, because it's so shameless.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think a lot of players, they probably would have picked tournaments where there's maybe a couple of IMs or something like that. But he just wants to make sure that he's not going to, he's going to get his 0.8 from every single game, which is the pragmatic. It's absolutely shameless, but it's the pragmatic and probably the right thing to do. It looks like it's a system that could do with some fixing. But I'm not part of that shit anymore, so that's fine.
But would you? So he has to play 10 more games, I think, before January 1st to be eligible. If he's getting even closer to you on the world rankings and close to taking your #1 spot, would you consider playing a tournament yourself?
No. You see, I've been farming points myself, in the Norwegian League this year. But I was playing 2 GMs and 1 IM, which is an incredibly dumb way to do it. So I'm learning now.
Okay. Well, are you happy that it's mostly all about online blitz for you these days, when you also watch all these classical long games?
No, it's fine at the moment. I enjoy doing this tournament a lot weekly, and I'm sure I will enjoy it a lot going forward as well. And yeah, apart from that, I'll leave the serious chess to the kids.
Love it. Magnus and Alexander, thank you for joining us in the studio and for giving us fantastic entertainment today. I have to tell you guys, I don't think I've ever watched more entertaining chess for 2 straight hours than today. It's a great format.
No, thank you. It really.
Thank you.
It's really cutthroat, but it's supposed to be that way.
Exactly. You guys, thank you for joining us in the studio. I'll take this out of your hands, and for giving us the entertainment today. I'll let you guys get out and do some resting.
He's got another tournament to play.
He has another tournament to play, that's true. The after party is happening. Oh, I love that. How cool is that? We have #1 and #2 in Title Tuesday Game Week 2 in a tournament with hundreds of players, both of them are here. What are the odds?
Yeah, it makes me wonder, should I, next time you ask him to commentate, should I go play just from over there? Will that help my chest?
Exactly.
I mean, maybe it would, but also it's funny because if Sasha was going to get second place to anyone, Magnus is the best person to get second place to because Magnus already qualified for the EWC. And so if Magnus takes points from everybody else, that gives Sasha the best chances to qualify on his own.
Yeah, but you could see his celebrations as well, right? Even after that final game, winning against Alireza Firouzja, he was just celebrating intensely when he realized it's second place for him.
Yeah, no, huge performance. And especially going into that last round, you know that Magnus and Alireza are ahead of you, Hikaru's in the mix, and you have to beat Alireza with the black pieces. Nobody is saying I'm doing that on demand. So for him to be able to score that victory and get second place, the cash prize, the points, it's a great day for him.
Cash prize is, of course, also a thing here in Title Tuesday, but it's mostly about those points towards the Champions Chess Tour leaderboards. And these are the standings after Game Week 2. We now have Magnus Carlsen on 13 points. The winner every week gets 10 points, so still Alexei Sarana on those 10 points. And Alireza Firouzja there on 5 points. Remember, 13 game weeks in each of the 3 splits. Your top 8 results from each split counts toward the leaderboard. All right, we're going to round it up here from Game Week 2. Robert, I have to say, it's been such a pleasure to be in the studio again with you to commentate.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I had an absolute blast. The format is great. The players are giving it their all. And I mean, what a treat to also have the 2 top finishers here with us and to be able to interview them. So just thank you, Kai. It's been awesome.
Likewise. All right, you guys, that was Game Week 2 in the autumn split. Remember, Game Week 3 is happening in 1 week exactly. Every single week, the top players in the world will play Title Tuesday, fighting for Tuesday glory, but also for a spot in the Esports World Cup. Fantastic entertainment today. Let's hope we get more of that. Thank you so much to all of you for watching from wherever you are, and we'll see you again in a week. Bye.
He's winning. Wow. He's winning. He found it.
Wow. What a shocking result here in round 2. He beats Hikaru Nakamura in round 2.
There he is. Oh, yeah,
he's
you
back.
can see.
Oh, yeah, he's upset. You can see it.
Oh, that's heartbreak. Will we see one
blunder. Oh. Bortnik is absolutely in form right now.
Wait, whoa.
Oh.
Has he blundered?
Oh, he definitely blundered. He did not want to get the queens off. He gave up his knight. No.
Oh, and Magnus is winning again.
Yep.
What a game. Is Magnus now winning both on the clock and on the board?
Here we go.